Hey, hey, internet. Hi, I hope everybody's having a spooky Saturday. Roll credits. No, just kidding. First off, thank you, Zombie and Innocent, for the biddies. Appreciate you. Um, Ew, Ransom, you absolute treasure. I'm so happy you're here. I'm really pumped everybody's here. We're doing another episode. It's where I took a break. I take breaks at every like 14 to 18 episodes of Spooky Saturday to like unwind, and also because like I am an adult with adult responsibilities. Yes, hello, brother. I will hydrate. I'm not drinking the coffee yet because that just came out the brewer, and I have a thing where I like to not burn my face. So yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. So we're gonna because I changed screen, it's gonna be doing drink. Yes. So yeah, very happy whether you're here live with us right now or if you are watching this VOD here on Twitch or on YouTube at a later time. I'm just very pumped that you're here to get spooky with us. Uh, Spooky Saturdays is a just chatting installment where me and my friends talk about spooky shit, and we get to highlight some of the projects that they've got going on. It's very exciting stuff. Uh, and I'm really pumped. January was such a weird, like December into January was such a weird, like, break for it. Cause the last break I took was because I was moving. And then I was gonna not focus on Spooky Saturday stuff and focus on other projects I have off of stream, which naturally I was bad and didn't do, as effectively as I wanted to. So there's that. But it's okay. We're having a great time. And today we're actually we're hanging out with our spooky time mom from the Shadow Guild, Innocent Ivy. What's up, Innocent? How you doing? How you living?
Hi, Bunny. I'm doing good. You?
I'm about to go NPC mode. I was like, I'm doing good. How are you? Like, I gotta not do that. Like, I have to actively not do that, and it's gonna be fine. Oof. Are you pumped? Are you ready? I know we're both caffeinated right now.
Oh yeah.
We're super caffeinated. We've been in a VC for a minute because usually I do like a sound check, uh, like maybe like 10 to 15 minutes beforehand. But whenever you and I have an episode, it literally like we get together like an hour before. And we're like, okay, let's structure. It's the type A. It's the type A. That's what it is. Wait,
It's
why
the
were there
double
hype?
Gemini.
That's exactly what it is. Why are there hype emotes? Why are there hype emotes showing up in my chat? Oh,
I
hello.
don't know. I don't know. Why are there hype
I don't
emotes?
know. OBS is weird and it doesn't show me a lot of things. Because it doesn't respect me, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. And it's fine. We're not worried about it. I'm just happy that everybody's here and having a good time, and that's the goal. That's the goal. Oh my goodness. So you've been on Spooky Saturdays a few times before, and a few times after this you will also be a few times. You're gonna be here forever, let's be real. Haha.
Yeah, you
But yeah,
can't get rid of me that easy.
no, no, it's like uh I how do I say it when I'm talking about myself? I'm like a bad penny. I just keep coming back. Which is such a funny like turn of phrase. But yeah, no. I'm very pumped about this. I also it just occurred to me that I don't have I think I just realized I had fucked something up. Maybe.
Oh boy.
Maybe
Never,
I maybe
never.
I messed something up.
You would
Uh
never.
no, of course not. Um I have to make sure the other tab is muted. Uh, Real quick, anyone in chat, please, if you can hear the creepy ass music in the background, uh, drop an emote. I want to offer promotion to your channel. Hi, follow bot. No, I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you. I love when they do the. No, that was very sweet of you. But no. Also, please block that person, that account. Thank you. But yeah, if anyone can hear the music in the background, please let me know, because I was supposed to have double checked that earlier, and then I didn't. So yeah, I'm
I
sure it'll be
kind of
fine.
distracted you.
Yeah, it's okay. Listen, this is my ADHD gone wild. But yeah, so I think it wasn't the last. I know before your last appearance when we did the Jack the Ripper episode with you and Archie.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah, that was a good one. Could go up a notch as well as innocent. Oop. I don't know what HD is, but apparently I got 80 of them. Ah, that's right. Um, that's real. Ayo, that's real. That's real. Um, yes, I'm an adult. See, usually what happened was, I'm sure this is fine. Yeah. We're just gonna eyeball it and it's gonna be fine. It's Gucci. It's all Gucci. What was I gonna say? I was really cute. Yep. This is why. This is why I need an adult. No. The last time we hung out was, we've been hanging out actually every week, all the time in general, because of reasons. But no. We did the Jack the Ripper episode with you, me, and Archie, which was super cool, and I'm pretty sure we solved Jack the Ripper. Like, we solved who that was.
Of course we did.
Yeah, because we're just fucking cool like that. But I know previous to that that episode, there was one other episode that we did where it was pre-affiliate you, and you've since made Twitch affiliate, which was one of the things you were striving. That was like your goal, was to hit affiliate, so that way you could be all you can be, which was really exciting. I'm very proud of you, by the way, for that.
That was a nice uh, struggle going on there, and when I made it, it definitely felt like I'd actually accomplished something finally.
Honestly, yeah, yeah, especially with how Twitch, like, it will draw out that last little bit when you're like in the final legs of becoming an affiliate, how it tries to fight you.
Mm-hmm.
And actually the really cool thing about that is when you and Ty hit affiliate, like, almost back to back.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, which actually inspired, I know, because I'm a Shadow Guild creator like you are, we started doing a Battle Buddies thing, which is a cute little, like, chart. You know me, I love cute little roles in Discord. But basically, it's a thing where, like, we're helping push other people get affiliate by pairing them up with other people with similar content. So that
Yeah.
way they could do, because, like, Archie and I, we got affiliate on the same day. Like, she had been trying for a while and I had been trying for a while. And I was like, we're going to combine our efforts and be awesome. And then we did. But, oh, thank you for shouting her out, because I was about to do that. And look at me, totally looking at my chat.
But yeah, I think Ty got affiliate like 2 or 3 days before I did, and
Because you were still processing, because you were on the thing that happened to me where it was like the last couple of days, where it was like 7 days, and you're like, it isn't 7, it's been 7 days, what are you doing?
yeah. Oh, but I mean, sad to say, I've always had a small competitive streak,
You both are
and
like that, and I love you both so much for that.
and when I saw that she got affiliate, I'm like, oh, this is not happening, and it just pushed me to push it harder. So thank you, Kai. You gave me the push I needed.
Listen, that's what are friends for, if not to push us to be better ourselves, you know?
This is true.
Like, I try to hype all of my friends, and part of that includes pushing them to be better themselves. You know? And I hope that everybody takes the courage to do something nice for themselves. I love to push people off of cliffs. Ty, I would never believe this of you. Hello, Bearded. Are we talking about the Alaskan UFO incident from yesterday? No. Hold on. Wait, I know we were going to talk about missing people. Can we actually do that? Hold on. Mom.
Let's go see what it's about.
Yeah, hold on. We're gonna
worth adding in.
That we might have to just do that first, and then this is how we're gonna segue into the missing people. We've got a plan. Okay. Hey, take a moment. Bearded, if you've got... Hold on, I'm sorry, Zombie just walked in. I can't hear you over the sound of this in my ear. I literally... Okay.
Oh my.
Sorry. Just text it to me next time. I love you. Okay. Sorry. This is why. I know why. It's because I last had you... The last time we had you, before that, I mean, right after that, we had done a golf with your friends thing. I think we ran one round of it, and you got very loud, and I had to turn you down a smidge. So while you were just turned down a hair in Discord, my Chrome sound has been weird. Okay. What is this talking in person shit? We are people who text. Exactly! Don't fucking don't come, like, text me. Also, like, I actually like when people call me, but also, like, if you could just text me, that would be better. But also, leave me a voicemail letting me know you texted me, because there's, like, 9 times out of 10, I'll look at a text and be like, oh my god. I'm gonna so respond to that, and I start to type it out, and then I forget to send. And then days later, I'm like, why does this person hate me? And they actually don't hate me. I'm just an awful person to respond. Like, you know, show of hands in the chat. Who here has been personally victimized by my inability to respond to a text in a timely fashion? I'm not even gonna wait. I'm just gonna assume that it's the majority of you. Like, if you've ever texted me, like, you know I'm terrible about that. Raising his hand. Just Google it. Bearded, no, you can't. Here's the thing. You gonna bring up an idea, and I can't Google at the same time. I've got so many fucking tabs open. This is Spooky Saturday, so this is Alaskan UFO. You realize, okay, here's the real thing while I am typing this into Google, because I am all about really good research, obviously, extensive research. I will also just say this. I have so many, like, Chrome tabs open when I go to do these. Like, you're asking too much of me. I have 30 tabs open. Now I have to mute this, that way it doesn't get brought up, because I'm not giving some ads. I have a 0 ad policy in my life. I don't like to put ads up. Thank you. Thank you for the link, Zombie. And that's another tab. Okay, so that guy's face looks like he's about to say some shit to me. So, real quick though, about, like, you say Alaskan UFO, you realize that, like, there are so many, that's a very wide net to cast. Sure, recent media is a thing. I think even season 1, when Jotun was on, and we had briefly touched on UFO stuff, a lot of UFO stuff happens in Alaska. It does. There is actually a famous situation. I think they even made a movie about it. I want to say it was like the 3rd kind or the 4th kind. They shot one down though. Shot down unidentified flying object the size of a small car. Hold on. I am so sorry. This is so loud in my ear because it's incredibly loud in my ear. There we go. Okay, so 1 week after shooting down a Chinese surveillance balloon. Pose reasonable threat, blah, blah, blah. Reading.
Yeah, apparently it was flying between 40 and 45,000 feet, which is right where civilian air traffic flies.
Yeah, I mean, that's where a Cessna would fly. Too long didn't read. Oh my god, Zombie, you were an absolute legend. Thank you. Another high altitude flying object, size of a car, it violated American airspace. The government went pew pew, and it's no longer a high altitude object. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, so okay.
Apparently it says here it fell onto the sea ice off the coast of Alaska.
Okay. I know we had a whole thing planned. I just want to... Alright. My brain has to do like a 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon situation. Okay. So, I want to say like a month or so ago, it was all over TikTok about these like metal balls that were just randomly showing up all over the place. And apparently it had been a thing where they had been showing up for like the last couple of years. Just like unidentified like big metal balls. Which of course, you know, canonically, as I'm watching these, the first thing I go is like, all right, lick it. Which is inappropriate as fuck, and it's fine. We all knew that I was going to be that way. But then there's been like a lot of like chatter, you know, in different social circles, different media circles about UFO stuff, like the whole alien thing. Was it like 2016 or 17? Was it the CIA or the FBI? One of these clandestine groups released some of their archival information where, like, Too Long Didn't Read, like, psychic capabilities in UFOs are, like, maybe, like, 85% for sure confirmed or real, which is wild, but also not completely a shocker, you know? God damn it. Oh my god! First episode! It's been so long since someone's used that command. We have a command for that. We do. We do have a command for that. But no,
and it gets used every time you and I are on here.
It does. It does. Oh my god. It didn't for the Jack the Ripper one, but I think that's because Archie was keeping us in line.
Oh no, it did. It did. It got used then too, yeah. Yeah, we strayed at one point just enough that Zombie threw it in.
Yeah. Real quick, can you just shout out Archie in case people aren't aware of what an amazing bean she is? Because we love Archie. But no. So, yeah, so aliens, that's some wild shit. Like, the whole idea, I guess as of late, is that, like, aliens, like, collectively, consciously, as a society of peoples, I think, at this point, anyone who doesn't think that aliens are real hasn't been paying attention, right? Is that, like, the consensus? That's the consensus I've come to, but I already was like, of course, you know, statistically it makes sense that aliens are real. That's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. Zombie's bad mod. I'm sure that person is just a follow. That person's just a follow account. Yeah. No.
No, it's not that one either.
Jesus. Oh my god. Thank you.
It's that one.
Zombie, why? Oh my god, that was so rough. Here, I'm gonna fix this right. And we just
Zombie, it might be
zombie.
time for you to go drink some coffee.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. Delete those other ones because terrible things are happening. Uh, I can't even. I could have to go into OBS is weird and it doesn't respect me and I don't understand it. So, me, a year or so ago. I don't know shit about podcasts. How hard can streaming be? Well. Oh my god, I've been doing Spooky Saturdays for a year.
Yeah, you have.
Oh my god, yeah, the year was January 15th is the official year anniversary. And I believe that day I was doing fuck all, so there you go.
Yeah, cause I missed season 1 because I had between moving and so much other stuff going on.
Yeah. And then like I think it was like the last couple of Saturdays of the season 1. And I call them seasons because it's just easier for me to catalog.
It makes sense.
Like in my brain, I'm like, this will make it easy to catalog and to organize. But no, yeah, it was like the last couple of like the last few like weeks that the first season was up. You were like, I would love to do this. And I was like, I would love you to as well, but also I have it booked. I was like, you gonna have to wait till next time. Sorry. Which is why literally when season 3 episode list went up, it literally I had made the sign up live in Discord and it was up for a solid minute and a half before you had already put in like these are the days I would like. I was like, damn, she on it. Like you were waiting for it.
I did that with both season two. I was slightly late on season 2 because I had wanted to do your opening one and I believe it was Shadow beat
Yeah.
me to it.
Yeah.
I was not getting beat out this season.
It was so wild.
Which means next season I have to be good and wait and let somebody else get the opening episode.
Believe me, if memory serves, you went to the Shadow Guild and you're like, really, dude? And I was like, no, we planned this, don't worry. But no, it was like a minute and a half. I was like, damn, she is on it. What the fuck were we talking about? Aliens. That's what we were talking about. Aliens! Doing the guy from Ancient Aliens. My hair's getting bigger. My hands are like, nobody can see my hand. I don't care. But like, aliens. Yeah, so I guess, because I think the Chinese surveillance thing, people were like, it's a weather balloon. And there was a whole uproar. People were like, why aren't they shooting it down? It's like, well, if it has a payload, you probably don't want to shoot that down over like a city.
Right?
And by the time y'all thought like, man, we should shoot it down, it was already well over like the Midlands. So like it was like already past the point where like if it went down, it was gonna hit a city. Like so like you had to wait. And I think like the second it cleared the coast, they're like, all right, send it, get it. And then it went down. But I know for a long time they were calling it a weather balloon, which is like, which usually is fans like, oh, it's just a weather balloon, is like fancy talk, like sneaky talk, sussy talk for like it might be a UFO. I mean UFO is unidentified flying object, but like you say UFO, you don't think of like, oh, it's just an acronym for like anything in the sky we don't know of. You immediately go to it's damn aliens.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should click that zombie. Is that a risky click of the day? It's safe, is it?
Oh, let's see.
I didn't hear your question, but the answer is aliens. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Love it.
I'm gonna save that shit to my memes folder. That's a thing. And yes, I do have meme folders on my phone and on my computer because memes.
Same here.
That's actually how I communicate in memes and memes and funnies. That's how that's my love language. That's
Mine. I've got the memes and the gifs.
like you can always tell when like gifts. Oh my god, gifts are. You can always tell when like I'm really like if I'm in my feelings or if I'm dying of like plague. I will change my name in Discord to Chris Traeger. Like for the Parks and Rec memes, like I'm dying. Pretty sure I'm dead. Like just very positive, like, no, it's cool. Like, but no, so aliens. So that was Bearded, you got us so derailed. I think yeah, we've been on it for like a half an hour. We're on for half an hour, we haven't even started getting into our we haven't even dove right in. I didn't even have to do the joke about the B movie. Like, the canonical like joke that I throw in about the B movie. No. Wow. Okay, so aliens. That's a didn't know that that was a thing. When did that happen? When did that even happen? The Alaskan one. Oops, Bearded, don't even worry about it, baby. Mr. Ransom, it's okay. When did that happen? February
Yesterday afternoon.
11th is when this article was. So this was
Yeah.
this was yesterday.
Yep.
Oh shit. I'm sure it's fine. Right? Yeah.
It's gotta be, right?
Yeah. Cool. So that's weird. That I didn't know that that was a thing. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Yesterday, what the hell was I doing? I was hanging out with my sister yesterday. That's what happened. We are having a long chitty chat, drank some coffee. And then afterwards, I think I did a stream, and then I delved into Minecraft, and then Stardew, but not by myself. If I play Stardew by myself, that means I'm depressed. If other people are with me, I'm not depressed. Like, but no, mental health is serious. But yeah, so today let's reel it back. Let's reel it back a little bit. Get back to the topic of the day, which is kind of conspiracy adjacent. I'm gonna not that I'm saying UFOs are conspiracies, because they're again essentially confirmed. But like, I mean aliens, not UFOs, obviously. I can't even brain right now. Let me drink this coffee real quick. Let me just
Now,
good soup.
we're trying to adult, and we keep forgetting adulting is hard.
It is. Adulting's hard. Words are hard. And also I'm an idiot, so like there's that.
No, you're not.
It's okay. Shh, I appreciate you. Spring break.
We're Geminis. We have a few more blonde moments than other people.
Actually I'm not blonde. I'm brune. I'm not gonna get into that. That's how I get derailed. Like, I'm gonna sense it, I'm gonna recognize it, acknowledge it, and let it go. Because I was like, I'm about to go on a spiel about the hair color. Now, actually, I don't look good as a blonde. I have dyed my hair blonde before, thinking, because my mom, I have a lot of similar facial traits to my mom, and she's she's a stunning woman, beautiful, and she's like naturally like gold platinum blonde. So I thought, in my younger years, that I was like, well, if she looks good as a blonde, I should look good as a blonde. No, I
Doesn't work
don't.
that way.
No, I don't. I look fucking terrible as a blonde. And also, everybody knows the very first time you bleach your hair, it looks bad. Like, if you don't go and get it professionally done and spend a fuck ton of money and have like a professional who knows what the hell they're doing and like spends like 6 hours on your hair, like, it's gonna look weird. I didn't tone it right. It just came out weird. I told myself I literally just said out loud I wasn't gonna talk about this. Let me get out of here. Let me get out of here. Oh shit! No. So we're actually going to be talking today about it's kind of like a little segment that we've been doing a few episodes. This is like the third episode we've done this on, where it kind of like started out on one thing, where just kind of like it's devolved into its own. Like, this is what happens when Innocent Comes hangs out for the majority of it. where we're talking about mysterious disappearances and missing persons. And I'm going to say this now because, the nature of these missing persons or this mysterious disappearances that we do cover on these episodes, just up front, blanket trigger warning, because we may end up discussing cases involving children. And I don't want anyone to feel some type of way. Now, if we get to a case if we get to talking about one that has to deal with a child, you will see this message pop up in chat. And then when we're done talking about anything that may be some type of way, I'll put that up as we're getting into specifics about it that may be uncomfortable. But when
Yeah.
you see this in chat, you can unmute if you like. If there are certain things that are that way, like the scary things. No, the things that would make people feel very like triggered or uncomfortable will have passed that point. We'll be talking about logistics. But yeah, I wanted to just throw that out there, because I personally was triggered last time we did this. I think the first one you brought up was like the Vatican one, and
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck?
Yep.
She bamboozled me right out the gate. Uh,
And I do have another one of those, but it's not my opening one this time.
okay, thank you. You know what? I will take the win. I appreciate you not just like jumping into like the Vatican mafia. I was like, what the? If you guys if you didn't see it last time, it's on YouTube. But like, she got me. She got me, man. But yeah, I know we're going to talk about a few different missing persons cases, and I think the majority of these are in like the Colorado Rocky Mountains type area.
Yeah.
So I'll let you go first because I've been talking a lot.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and start off uh, with the bizarre disappearance and discovery of Dale Stelling in the Mesa Verde.
Where's
Um,
that? Mesa
mhm.
Verde, the Green
Yeah,
Plains,
that's uh
Green Plains.
uh it's an archaeological preserve up up here in the it's a national park reserve up here in the Rocky Mountains. Uh don't remember exactly where in the Rocky Mountains.
Thank you for the hydrate,
Um
Thrall. Appreciate you. It's next to the Salsa Verde. Get the fuck out of chat, zombie. Stop it. Damn troll. Fucking troll.
um
Hello, Thrall. I love to see you here.
but yeah, Dale Stelling vanished without a trace for 7 years. When he wandered off from his family in the wilderness here in Colorado. Um, uh,
Okay.
um, it was near the World Heritage Site, uh, which contains about 5,000 different archaeological sites. So it's fairly easy for somebody to get lost in. Um, and they did find his remains 7 years later, but they haven't released how or where he died. Just that he disappeared. Um, they're right around the heritage sites. Um, and let's see. There's the rest of it. June 9th of 2013. 51-year-old Dale Stelling, his wife and parents were traveling from Texas up through Colorado. They arrived at the visitor center around 4:30. He's an expert. Was an, his bleh, wording is hard.
Words are hard.
Uh, Very hard right now. He was an experienced hiker that went off on his own to view the Spruce Tree House ruins, um, which were less than a quarter mile away and within eyeshot of the visitor center. Um, he didn't take any water or anything like that, and he just disappeared. It was the
Wait,
last time.
he went hiking without water?
It was 402 meters away from his family, and he knew they'd be able to see him because of how close it was. So he didn't take water with him. He didn't expect to be gone very long. Um, but on the approach to the Spruce Tree House ruins, there's an intersection with another longer, more dangerous trail that's known as the Petroglyph Point Trail. And it's about a 2.5 mile loop. Um,
Which is a lot
along a
farther than like 400 meters.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was this
Um,
other trail?
and it's not a difficult hike, but it is along a steep canyon and does have exposure to cliff edges. Um, Now his wife and his elderly parents, because of physical limitations, couldn't go out to the Spruce Treehouse ruins. But Dale himself was an avid camper and outdoorsman, so he was going to have no problems getting over there. Um, and another family had actually ran into him on the Petroglyph Point Trail. They said that he didn't seem distressed, made small talk, but that was the last time anybody had seen him alive.
Oh shit.
Um, because they believed that he would only be exploring the Spruce Tree House site, they did report him missing really quickly. Um,
Which is ideal in situations when someone goes missing.
yes, the first 24 hours are critical. Um, and the park rangers weren't alarmed right away because they had, figured he'd taken the petroglyph trail, which of course would take longer to go through. Um, but even the Parks and Rec, the park rangers realized that once the 2 hours had passed, they knew something was wrong and began searching. Um,
So, I hate to interrupt you. So, you said park rangers. I'm triggered immediately. Was this in a national park?
yes, yes. The
So,
Mesa Verde is a national park up in the Colorado Rockies.
the thing of this national park system, uh, so they don't actually track the number specifically of missing persons every year. Some experts think that, like, between 1,600 and 2,100 people will mysteriously vanish every year in the United States alone. However, they can't give you anything more than a generalized estimate because a lot of times when people go missing and it has something to do with the national park system, there's no definitive way of telling if they went missing while in the park or if that's just the last place people can remember them going to,
Mhm.
especially when people go on camping adventures. um Sometimes they won't let people know when they've finished camping, which is crazy in my mind. I have a system with my support system. I have like my support group, my support system, the people in my life I care about. Um, like my mom and my sister are very like, hey, I need you to text me the second you get home. Hey, when you're leaving, I need you to text me. If
Yeah.
you stop for gas, I need you to tell me where you are. Um, so a lot of people when you'd think it'd be more people, but there are like 7-8 billion people on the planet. A lot of people don't think to do stuff like that, so they'll go out hiking in these national and like there are so many stories from park rangers. about just like people just straight up vanishing and also like weird cryptid shit going on in the national parks. At some point, we have to do. I know we have it on the books eventually to go over that. But that's super. Okay, so he went hiking, national park. Go back to what you were saying before I fucking interrupted you with this like crazy like fact.
You're fine. That's actually one of the really interesting things that, a lot of people may not realize, and it's stuff like that that, you know,
Makes it
tends to
unsettling.
keep us interested
Hi,
too.
Shadow.
Um, it does say that, the High Shadow, that the search and rescue, um, in this case was an important aspect because they don't normally start in such an immediate, streamlined way, especially with a precise area to focus on. They did state that, it's worth noting that while he didn't have any water on him, he did have a cell phone. Although they're leery about the type of coverage because with it being a remote park, it could have been intermediate or intermittent. But immediately upon his vanishing, an intense search effort was launched. It lasted for 2 weeks before being scaled down on the assumption by then that he had perished. At the height of the search, um, they had 60 searchers, 2 K9 units, specialized mountaineering units, which rappelled down into the canyon, and even a couple of helicopter teams armed with forward-looking infrared technology. But even with the head start and all the trained searchers, there was no trace of him found. And then in mid-September of 2020, the National Park authorities received an anonymous tip directing them to his remains. So after 7 years of searching, they were finally found September 17th of 2020.
That's sussy to me.
Yeah. The Park Service and the Investigation Services Branch and the Montezuma County Police never revealed exactly where his remains were discovered. They did cryptically state that the remains were found about 4.2 miles from where he was last seen, and that area was remote and an off-limits section of the park. So, the media reports said the anonymous tip might have come from a hiker, and there was some reference to his remains having been discovered west of Durango.
How far is that from where he went, like where they last saw him?
Durango is a small town about 38 miles east of the park. But it does say that the largest and most remote section of the park is a section directly right about 4 to 5 miles west of the town of Durango.
So, average walking stride of an average size adult male. So that'd be do. So realistically, if he had walked almost nonstop, it would take him roughly 23 hours to walk that distance.
Mm-hmm.
And search started how soon after?
Within 2 hours.
Yeah, so he would have had to have been taken. Again, I have absolutely zero fucking proof of that, but like in my mind, he would not have been able to cover that or get out of their search radius to get there.
Yeah. They also said, there's so many unanswered questions about it without answers, because if he had fallen off the trail and into a crevice, then the K9 units would have detected the odor.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, and they say that the 4.2 mile distance from where he was last seen is troubling given the geography of the park. Um, because it could have only been to the west or to the south from where he was seen, because towards the east would have led right back to the paved road areas. And to the north, he would have gone down into a canyon and scaled back up the other side, which is impossible. But
No,
neither south nor
they would have
west
definitely got him
align.
at that point.
Yeah. And neither south nor west, though, align with the reports of him being discovered west of Durango. Um,
Especially 7 years later.
yeah.
That doesn't.
Um,
None of that shit makes any sense. What? Okay.
yeah. And it says, he was found several miles away, not wedged in some ravine. So how did the 60 searchers and the helicopters located with the FLIR not find him in 2 weeks?
No.
Or
So
the additional 7 years of less intense searching.
that doesn't make any sense. So this is definitely a situation where my detective bunny brain immediately goes to there was foul play involved. There was definitely a third party involved. Because that stuff doesn't add up. What would add up though is if somebody snagged him and took him to a different location, then murked him, and then where they found the body is where they dumped it. After the search and after the majority of the searching ended, but prior to the body being found. That's right. That's right, Autotech Gamer. Fuckery is afoot. Yes, absolutely. Hello, by the way. I'm so happy you're here. Yeah, no, this shit don't make any sense.
Now, here's another twist with it. A lot of these areas are prehistoric ruins and whatnot of older inhabitants like the Clovis, the Basket Makers, ancestral Puebloans, Palo Indians, and the Anasazi.
Okay, so
in some cases, people that were just there and then suddenly gone with no reason to explain why.
oh shit. So okay. Okay. So if I'm following, I think I'm picking up what you're putting down. But it kind of sounds like that whole idea of like the Bermuda Triangle, but on land. Like the whole idea that like the people who in this particular region will drop out almost through space and time, and then his body got just spit out. Is what you're thinking?
Kinda, yeah. I mean, the site that I found all this on actually has pictures of some of the Anasazi ruins that are in the Mesa Verde National Park. I mean, they're absolutely gorgeous. I would love to go walk through these.
I blame the Fae. Fucking zombie. I mean, be respectful. But no, that is actually incredibly interesting. Please DM that to me just for my future reading purposes, because I definitely want to look into that.
Okay.
Because
I guess it would help.
I don't think it's a at this point. I've glossed over it, but I am working on a book, and I am going to use some. I like extra research to pull from. So
there you go.
So I like that idea. I don't like the idea of people going missing and then dying. Let me be clear. I don't like that particular idea, but I like interesting information for when I need to like when you have that ADHD moment, you're like, damn, I'm in between hobbies. I need to hyperfixate on something. I like to have material at which to read to hyperfixate on.
Yeah. Now, It does go into a little bit more down in here, about a couple of other things that go on around the area. But given one of my ones for a little later, I can't go into it right now because it would give the other one away.
So we're going to put that pin in it. We're going to pin this
Yes.
and circle back to it.
Yes.
Okay.
It will tie in with the other one that I pop in.
Okay. Okay. Well, there's that. Wow. Okay. And again, this was I just want to just reiterate, this was like, it was the worst thing to happen, but search wise, missing person wise, it was the best case scenario. They identified he was missing early on, alerted people, and a search began within 2 hours of him disappearing. Of his last thing. Which again, I know, media, TV, film, what have you, has perpetuated this stupid ass idea. You have to wait 24 hours to report someone missing. Fucking don't do that. If you suspect someone is missing in your family, in your friend group, if you haven't heard from somebody for an amount of time and they're normally very active on that, tell somebody, say something, tell somebody, reach out, do what you got to do. Because if someone is truly missing, the earlier that people start looking for them, the more likely it is that they're going to find them. And the more time that goes on, the least likely they're going to find them in a good position. Especially in a situation where, like, hiking. I actually had this conversation with my sister yesterday, where, like, a lot of people, I grew up in Vermont, in like a very like rough terrain. Like, for instance, when I moved down south and I was talking to an insurance agent to get, when you get your license and everything and they have to have insurance on it or whatever, and I was trying to get everything switched, the insurance agent, the second I gave him the zip code I moved from, he immediately was like, "Oh, so you're familiar with extreme weather. You're familiar with driving in extreme weather conditions and hazardous terrain. That will give you a discount." And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like, I know how to drive. Is that what you're asking?" But apparently, but no, it's a thing where a lot of people don't have the same kind of like outdoors knowledge that kids growing up in the place I grew up in immediately knew, because it was a thing society, like in society, that they taught you. Like, here's how you handle a gun, here's how you clean a deer, here's how you like find your way in the woods, here's like stuff like that a lot of people don't know. And it is so easy to get lost in the woods. So easy. So yeah, if you know somebody who's going hiking, set up a check-in time. Know where they are. Take preventative measures, and if someone's missing, let someone know. That's all I had to say on that one, for sure. But like, yeah. Mine's not as cool as that. I mean, I've got one. Again, none of these are cool, but like, because missing people is terrible. I know how to drive in hazardous weather. Why can't I have lower insurance? So, okay, I'll just take over. So here's the deal. And I know the place you live in. I'm not gonna dox you, and I don't want you to take any offense to this. Bottom of my heart. Southern roads. If you think of the worst southern road you've been on, that is likely one of the best roads to have compared to the place I grew up in. And frost heaves 3 feet high that just pop up, like, is wild. I'm not saying that you probably aren't familiar with some hazardous terrain, but like, I'm not saying I'm better than you. No, that's not what I'm doing. But like, no, there's definitely places out there that are probably more dangerous to drive through than where I grew up. But that being said, it's a different brand. I know I mentioned this about the cold in a previous stream and also like in anybody's conversation with me, where like it just hits different, you know? There's the way geography and weather happens is just crazy. And think about the heat index. If you're in Arizona and it's 115 degrees, it's not going to be like, ew, I'm dying. Like, it's like a dry heat versus if you're in South Carolina and it's 85 degrees, you're dying because there's like 99% humidity. Like, I'm using that as a very broad, generalized example of like how different climates and different geography will impact things impact a person, as a way to say extreme driving in Vermont and extreme driving in the South are going to be completely different for so many different reasons. But I don't know. For some reason, State Farm was like, you get a discount. I was like, bet, thanks. I'm not saying they're a sponsor because they're not. If they want to be, they can hook me up with that money. But let's get back to missing persons before we get derailed again for the 8th time today. It's real.
Honey, you just gotta remember, our train doesn't have tracks. It goes where it wants.
It's off-roading. It's got mud tires on. Let's go. Don't mean to wander off. Oh, Autotech, I'm gonna tell you the exact same thing I told Beer Trash Panda. It happens so often, and this is not you. It happens so often that we literally have a command for it. There is a command for it. Like, so like, don't. This is just how it be. Like, the fact that there is a command for it is all the info you needed to know. Like,
Damn spider train. I like that. I like that. Yes, we have a spider train, Panda.
Oh man. So this one is a little bit farther back in time. But it's in the Colorado area, so like when you told me the area we were gonna look at, this is Joseph Halpern, who may have also used the alias Lewis Hollenbuck. And it's from, he disappeared in August of 1933, which was 90 years ago. Do I know how to math? Yeah. 90 years ago. 90 years ago, yeah. And you're not gonna believe this, Mom. So he was last seen near Taylor Peak in the Rocky Mountain National Park. He had been camping with a friend. He decided to hike up Taylor Peak alone, bringing his Army knapsack with him. But after some time, he failed to return from his hike. So his friend notified the people, and a search began. However, it was slowed down because there were several snowstorms that occurred in the days following, and they couldn't find any sign of him. Obviously, nobody's still looking for him because of the time that's passed. They did have DNA from his relatives to identify his body if it was ever located. From my understanding, they never found anything.
And what was his name again?
Joseph Halpern.
I swear I've heard that name before.
I have too, and this is why, like, I literally, when I was looking, because we had this thing, because I'm super organized. The last couple of times we've done missing persons, I forgot to write down the names of people that we've already covered. So I was like, is it familiar because I've looked at this before, thinking this might be a good one to bring up? Or did I look this, or does it sound familiar because we've covered it on a previous episode? And the answer is, good question, I don't know. But he went missing when he was 22. And the fact is that, being where he could have fallen someplace, he could have died, he could have been eaten. Uh, he also could have just died of exposure and be someplace because exposure is a real concern that people have to take into consideration. You know,
For sure.
and I'm trying to see if I can find any other information because a lot of people, I mean, that specific national park was only open for like maybe 20 something, almost 30 years prior to his disappearance. The Rocky Mountain National Park is a relatively young one in comparison. A lot of these parks are because of, how the park system became a thing, but the fact is that a lot of people have gone missing in such a relatively short time. Um it's just it's very odd. And I'm trying to find a better timeline on this because the snowstorm thing is weird to me. Because again, that was just like the information that I found. But it while I don't know enough about the geography and climate of the Rocky Mountains in particular, I knew
Mm.
where I grew up, it wasn't uncommon for snow to fall in September.
We've got areas of the mountains here that have snow year round.
Okay, so then it is probably possible then. Ignore my brain thought for a second. I was like, how long were they looking for him? Like,
Yeah,
so they probably could have, I mean, it's definitely interesting.
yeah. Um,
He's not the only person with that name, by the way, who's gone missing.
oh boy.
There's several other ones in the course of the last 50 years with the same first and last name who have gone missing in the United States, specifically in that area. Not
Yeah.
saying it's not saying it's a conspiracy, just saying it's like super interesting to be like, "Oh wow, that's weird. How weird."
It is actually interesting because, him having disappeared near the Flat Top Mountain area, um, there's not too long after he disappeared, there was uh more people that turned around and disappeared
Are any
from
of
the
them on your
same area.
list? Are any of them on your list?
Not that I've seen. I don't recognize the other
I
names.
mean, there's not a lot. Again, there's not a lot that I'm seeing. I know that there've been mentions in different missing people's documentaries, or different. There's definitely a lot of people who have covered this a little bit. Um, but basically, he was an astronomy student. Um, and then suddenly he went on a camping trip, and then he disappeared.
Yeah, because 16 years after he vanished, they had two more Colorado A&M students go missing after getting separated from their hiking group with no trace ever having been found. Um, a fourth person went missing in 83 that they never found. So, yeah, it almost seems like it might be something about the area. Kinda?
So this is why we bring these up on Spooky Saturdays, because I mean that's very interesting. There are definitely places on Earth where stuff like that is more prevalent. Maybe it's again just our recognizing that pattern. Like a lot of people tend to go missing here, but also it is incredibly weird. You know,
Yeah,
I don't know.
it is. But yeah, I mean, I don't recognize the other names that they put in here. So I don't know if there's going to be a tie-in to the other ones I've got or not.
Well, that's, I mean, again, it wasn't like a super like detailed like conspiracy one. I found it and I thought it was interesting. I was like, huh. Mainly because like he wasn't from the area. He literally traveled to that area to go camping with friends.
No. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's that. That's Joe Halpern. Your turn.
Oh, no pressure.
No pressure. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna throw a missing person out there and bring us home.
Well, I think I'm going to turn around and jump over here to the unsolved disappearances in the Great Smoky Mountains. Um, uh, the most well-known missing person cases of the Smoky Mountains is Dennis Martin. At the age of 6, he disappeared in the mountains without a trace in '69, and was never seen again. Volunteers, Boy Scouts, National Guard members, multiple rescue squads, even a group of 71 Green Berets came along and searched for him, helicopters as well. It
Okay.
was listed as one of the longest and most extensive searches for any lost person in the park, and they still turned up nothing. Um,
They had Green Beret people searching for him.
yes. Um, they went. Him and his family had gone on a camping trip on Father's Day weekend in June of 1969, 10 years before I was born. He went along with his brother Douglas, Father William, and his grandfather Clyde. They started at Cades Cove and hiked to Russell Field, where they camped overnight. After the next day, they made their way to Spence Field. They had met with another group visiting the area, ironically, also had the last name of Martin. Dennis and his brother and new friends played a prank in the form of a sneaky surprise on the adults, but Dennis never emerged from his hiding spot. Only minutes had passed, so they quickly started searching for him, but he was never found. Clyde hiked out to a park ranger station, but a massive storm had arrived. And it's believed that the weather is part of the cause of them not finding him because of it hampering the search.
Yeah, bad weather will slow down a search because they're supposed to go when you're searching for a person or their remains. They're supposed to go grid by grid.
Yeah.
But bad weather, you can't really spread out like that and be reasonably able to find tracks and trails and also have everyone stay safe in the search party.
Yeah. Um, Trying to see if there's any other information on him aside from what little bit they have there. Um, uh, let's see. It says he went missing June 14th at 4:30 p.m. Shortly after he disappeared, they had a rainstorm hit that dropped 3 inches of rain in just a matter of a couple hours, which washed out
Oh yeah,
trails,
so
causing streams to
all
flood.
so any type of tertiary evidence that would point to where he was, that wouldn't be able to be tracked at that point. Even maybe 20 minutes into that rainstorm, you wouldn't have found anything.
Yeah. Um, and there's 3 main theories about what happened to him because they've never found him. The first, which is also the one that is the most probable according to park officials, was that he got lost and died from exposure or other causes, likely during the first night. The second one is that he was attacked by um, a hungry bear or other wild animal and carried off. The last one was that he was abducted and taken out of the park. His father was uh, a big believer in the fact that he was abducted. Because they say that on the afternoon that he disappeared, tourist Harold Kay and his family heard an enormous, sickening scream, and shortly thereafter witnessed an unkempt, rough-looking man running up the trail near where the scream had come from. It says that the guy looked on as the man got into a white car and abruptly sped off in it. But the
Wait,
FBI and
hold
the
on,
park
hold
rangers
on.
said there wasn't significant evidence.
So, back that up for me, because I think my brain just had a dumb. So, how close to the disappearance did this happen?
Uh, on the same afternoon. It doesn't specify how long afterwards, but just on the same afternoon and in roughly the same area,
Huh.
they heard the scream and saw the man running up the trail. Uh,
As a rule, if I hear somebody scream in the woods, no, I didn't. Which sounds really heartless, but also I'm not the one that's going to go down like that.
Now,
That's some nonsense.
um, it does say that they found a shoe and a sock, but it was, it doesn't say where. It says by June 22nd, 56 square miles of ground had been covered by up to 1,400 people searching for him.
That's
Uh,
impressive. So that means they were at least, even with it being slowed down by weather, they were doing a thorough job searching.
yeah. The search was officially closed down in September or on September 14th of 69. But on June 26th, they cut back, and it was mostly abandoned by June 29th, but there were still people that were going out searching for him off and on until September of the same year.
So 2 weeks of extensive search, and then
Trickled out.
and then it trickled out.
Yeah. Um,
And they never found his remains?
no. There's a possible chance that his remains were found, but I don't think they've tested them yet, because it says that a few years after, a ginseng hunter claimed to have discovered the scattered skeletal remains of a small child in Big Hollow Tremont. But he kept the find to himself until 1985, because he was afraid he would be prosecuted for illegal ginseng. But a search after that turned up nothing. So, whether it was actually his remains or something else, they don't know.
I hate that. I hate that, like, had he reported it sooner, I mean, likely nothing could have been done at that point, or almost nothing could have been done at that point. Just because, again, at that time, DNA was still a relatively new process.
Yeah.
Because if those weren't the remains of the person who went missing, they're somebody's remains, They belong
Yeah.
to someone. But the fact that they didn't report it out of fear of getting a different charge for something that is way less, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Well, I mean, and the fact that they went back and did a search after he finally said something and the remains weren't there, even if they couldn't test it for DNA then,
They
they would
could.
have put it in storage somewhere, and they could have tested it later when the technology was there to try to find out who that child was.
Yeah. I hate that.
But yeah, that's what I've got on Dennis Martin.
I hate that so much. So, on my list, I've got two more, and one kind of leads into the other for wrap ups. How many more do you have? Because if you've got a couple that you want to squeeze in before we go to these ones, we can do that.
I've got one more that will.
Where was the one we were going to pin
That's
back to?
That's the one that ties in to some of the stuff in the same report with the stuff for Dale Stelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was going to do this one before we went into our.
I mean, I can do
conspiracy.
I can do I can do Jared real quick, and then we can pop into.
Okay. Yeah, that should work.
Yeah, the reason I was like, I don't really know where to put this, just because it does. So, I wanted to talk about. I'm gonna say his name wrong because reading's hard and it's hard to read. Jared Adodero. And again, this is a child, so if you're uncomfortable hearing about children going missing and or bad things happening, it's not super graphic at all, because again, not a lot's known. But if that is something that you don't want to hear about or know about, I'm throwing the trigger warning up. But I'll pop back off once we've hit the next topic. So if that's something you need to take a break from, you need to step away, you need to mute, like, I fully understand. But basically, this is a 3-year-old American boy, babies, who went missing October 2nd of 1999, which was 24 years ago. Trash Panda, calm down. And he was hiking with a Christian social group on Big South Trail, which is a part of the Arapaho and Roosevelt National Forest in Colorado, another national forest. They did find his remains in 2003, so 4 years later. 2 businessmen found it on a hiking trip. This is actually a cold case. It's still a cold case. Because he went missing, and then they found his remains so long afterwards. But also, the strange thing about it is that the no cause of death was officially classified for this. Often people report the idea that maybe perhaps it was a mountain lion attack. But the remains don't show the typical signs and patterns of a mountain lion attack.
No.
There were also other people who were putting out the on Pulse. You two are awful. Oh my god, I hate these guys in chat. Love you actually, but like both of you, like both of y'all need an adult. I'm not an adult today. No, but there are some theories though that he was a child who was abducted, and then murdered, and then his remains were placed after the fact.
No.
I don't know the context. Well, see, if you paid attention, you would know. Because if you don't know, then now you know. This was actually, at the time, it was a really hot media thing. It was very, a lot of people were aware of the situation. And there were a lot of people who were involved in this search, mainly due to the fact that it was already in a time frame that was in an area similar to, John Benet Ramsey murder,
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially, my brain. There was a total of 13 people in the group who decided to take the early hike. It was 15 miles west of the resort they were staying at. It was a beautiful weather day, good weather day, and that was kind of the reason they went out for the hike, is because, like, oh, it's beautiful, let's go for a hike. Yeah, Zombie, you're a terrible mod. I'm gonna head out for a bit to go get. Hey, if you do that, can you also get mine? And also chicken nuggies. Thank you.
Nuggies!
Nuggies! I want chicken nuggies. Thank you. Thank you. So it's, again, the reports on what happened the day he went missing vary. And in some situations, they vary widely. A lot of, like, the general consensus is that the group of 13 split into faster and slower paced groups on the trail, and that Jared ran ahead of the group he was with. Some say that he stopped and talked to two fishermen, and the two fishermen actually were talked to by the investigators, but they didn't think anything of, like, this 3-year-old being by himself for whatever reason. There was another group that on the trail that was ahead of where Jared was when he was talking to the fisherman, so they weren't aware that they thought that he might have been with them, but it was a different hiking trail. And the last of the fishermen saw of Jared, he was walking up the trail near some adjacent campsites. So not long after when the fisherman reported seeing him, one of the members of the group and members of the other hiking group heard a loud scream. It was quoted as sounded both like someone getting attacked or someone playing with someone, like a playful scream. Again, children be screaming. If you've never hung out with a kid, me, completely, like, unhinged. But no, children are loud. Like, I am a TT. I have, like, 12 or 13 nieces and nephews. It's a ridiculous number. I have a lot of siblings. We're not gonna get into that. But, like, but it's, children, when they are playing, like, they will screech and scream. Anyone who has been around small children, like, they be loud for no apparent reason. That's not when you worry. You worry when they're silent, because that's when you know there's something going on. But, like, so it may have been, like, if it was considered a playful scream, maybe people were just, like, brushing it off. I don't know. So they heard the scream, and it was the group members at that point started searching for young Jared, and after a fashion returned to the resort to inform the family of like, hey, we can't find your 3-year-old. Which obviously they didn't take very well.
Obviously.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine being in that situation. So basically the Larimer County Sheriff's Office, they initiated a search for Jared. And, everybody had high hopes, like, we're going to find him. How far could he have gotten? He's a young child, but, we should be able to find him easy peasy. It maybe take a few hours, but, he'll probably be chilling, hiding someplace. But he actually, the sheriff, was so confident they were going to find him, he went and took a nap in his cruiser and told the other people in charge of the search, I'm going to take a quick nap. Wake me when we find the kid. Because he thought, I'll just get like a 20, 30 minute, maybe a couple hours of a nap. So when he woke up the next morning, because nobody woke him up, that's when he realized, okay, so nobody found the kid. Which is a whole lot of concerning to me, but also I understand to a degree.
Yeah.
Like, in that situation, if there's something that's a common occurrence, which it sounds like maybe in that county it might have been, kids getting, separated from their parents on a hike, they find them like a couple hours later, chilling out. Because, especially if let's say this is like the 5th one he's had this week. He's probably like, cool, I'm gonna take a nap. Let me know when you find the kid. But like,
Yeah.
you can't really like as a outside party looking at this 20 years, 24 years in the future. That right there probably didn't help if people weren't taking it as seriously as it could have been, or as it has been, how it ended up being,
Yeah.
But they had helicopters at some point looking for him. The helicopter that was used in the search for Jared ended up crashing, which injured the team on board and destroyed the helicopter. It was just a very, the situation's crazy wild.
Yeah.
And then 4 years later, these two business guys decide they're going to go for a hike, the Big South Trail, and they came across the partial human remains, including a brown polar fleece sweater, a pair of blue trousers, and Disney's Tarzan sneakers, which is what Jared was wearing the day he disappeared. So they found part of a teeth and part of a fractured human skull. They did DNA testing, which revealed that at the time, using the DNA testing resources they had available, it was an 86% match that it was likely to be Jared's. After they retested it with more modern gear, as the technology improved, it has been confirmed 100% that the remains were Jared's. Alan Azaro, rather than burying or cremating the remains, created a shrine with them in his old bedroom, and he kept it exactly the way it was before he disappeared. This is the father. This is the father, by the way. I'm sorry. I'm not. I just realized, like, I probably didn't say that was the father. And the father ended up publishing a book about this. Drive carefully. Chicken nuggies, thank you. There's two, again, it's wild to me, this whole situation. Because the father, once they come back and they report it, his reaction, he went to his car and he started beating on his chest and screaming and crying that they lost my baby. And he was just like completely unhinged at that point. Which again, in that situation, I'm not a parent. I can't say that I would have a better reaction, It's just all of it's very, it's a bad situation, to be in.
It is. I don't even want to think. I can't imagine. I've got my kids. I cannot imagine what I would be feeling if one of them went missing like that, aside from somebody better find them alive or there's going to be a lot more people
Oh,
dead.
I would have beat the shit out of that sheriff if I found out I took a nap. Tell you what, like I know
Oh,
for the
yeah.
fact that that would have happened, but yeah, I feel for the family so hard on this. There are two theories about how Jared passed, and they're not good. Again, I brushed on them briefly, but um because of the area, there is like a general consensus that he was killed and eaten by a large animal like a mountain lion. However, it didn't make sense, like looking at how the remains they found, the condition they found them in, and like, the signs on the body,
Hmm.
and comparing it to how predatory hunters like big cats like a mountain lion would typically uh have attacked.
Yeah.
So the things that were weird about it, anyone who's had a cat knows typically, I mean, every cat's got their own like little finicky things. Like I had one cat that refused to eat livers, like would completely dissect the mouse to get that out of there, and then would just eat the whole thing. My cat now, she refuses to eat feet or tails, and I understand that. Um, However, with big cats like mountain lions, if they were to attack, they would have gone for the soft tissues and the abdomen first. That's where they would have attacked first. Um, but the clothing, the sweater was intact. There was no signs that the attack took place there. There wasn't any tearing, anything like that, indicating that that's what happened.
Yeah.
Um, the trousers were turned inside out. Like when they found everything, the pants were inside out. Um,
Okay.
and obviously, mountain lions don't have opposable thumbs.
Right.
I mean, there are like the weird like cat things, like the inbreeding cat paws, where they got the extra paws. But I don't think that they understand how trousers work. Um,
Probably not.
the shoes were showing minimal wear, so it didn't look like they didn't have the wear on them as if the body had been dragged. Which, if I'm a big mountain lion, at some point I'm going to drag the thing I've killed to bring it
Yeah.
to a roost to finish. Um, because not to be all like weird bird faxy or like cat faxy about it, but large, big cats, they do like what is it, like intermediate fasting, where like they'll go a while without eating, and then they'll just like go ham and gorge and eat. They'll have a kill and they'll eat it, and they'll eat it all at once, and then they'll sit on it. Like that's how they would do that. So if a big cat did it, they would do the attack, they'd take the body elsewhere, and then like to their like safe place where they could sit and have a big long ass meal on him.
Yeah.
But there wasn't there the clothing on the remains didn't reflect that this happened. The shoes didn't reflect that there was any dragging involved. Bless you. Bless you.
Thank you.
Second you got to 3, I was ready to send it. um the other thing that's on the other side of it though, mountain lion tracks were prevalent in the area next to Jared's tracks during the initial search. There were cougar prints, and there was a spot where the child's prints and the cougar prints kind of convexed into the same area, and then the child prints disappeared. So it could have looked to someone just tracking just the prints alone that that's where they intersected and that the lion took, or that the cougar took it from that point. There is also the other theory that Jared may have slipped and fallen, getting caught on a rocky terrain, and then later dying from exposure or from injuries resulting from the fall. A lot of people have ruled that out, considering the coverage that they had for the search party.
Yeah.
The other theory that's out there is that he was abducted and murdered by someone who had just taken him. Mainly, the main thing that points to that is the trousers.
Yeah.
The only damage that was done to the clothing that people could see were from rodents and birds taking pieces away to do nesting stuff. Everyone that knew the kid, like family, friends, all of that, who would have been in where investigators do when children go missing. This is the thing. There's actually a circle. There's like a circle graph they use where they make like, okay, here's the immediate people. Here are the next ring of people. Here are outside people. After the issues with stranger danger that whole campaign caused, investigators and people who, like detectives, cops, law enforcement, they actually approach missing persons cases and children abductions separately, different than how they did in the past. Stranger Danger in the 80s came out, which basically radicalized all these parents to expect some bad dude to pop out of a bush somewhere and kidnap somebody. But the majority of the time when a child goes missing, it's someone who knows the kid, which is fucking terrifying. So the police they did what they were supposed to do in this one respect, is that they grilled the family and friends, but there was no leads or anything that came of that. So there was no indication that anyone who immediately knew the family had taken him.
No. Question. Buddy.
Yeah.
Would this be a good time to let you know that we accidentally tied something together without realizing it? Because this one ties directly into the one that I've been holding on to and is a fourth theory about what happened to Jared.
That's actually perfect. I have one more thing to say about this, and then I definitely want to hear a yes. I love when this works. Again, I don't love that people go missing and terrible things happen to good people. I don't like that. But I love when like we can connect the dots across these different cases. I love finding those connections that hopefully while they can't help in this situation, they may help in something in the future.
Now,
there was another situation where the father, Alan, has been being harassed by a man who's claiming to be Jared and had to take out a restraining order on him. And of course, after DNA was done, they were able to say definitively, like, hey, so like you're not Jared. But it was definitely weird that was a thing that took place. And Moscow has her zoomies right now. I just watched her like do 5 laps in my office. Cats. No. But that was the last thing I wanted to bring up, is that like at one point during all of this, between, because again, 86% match up until a certain time frame, there's still a chance, especially with how human DNA works. 86% is in no way definitive, because I might share close to 80% of my DNA with a third or fourth cousin, and I don't really know a lot of my cousins like that. Mainly, again, I come from a very large family on both sides. So, like, on my dad's side alone, I have 127 first and second cousins. Yeah. So, like, I don't know all them people, but it's definitely, since they were able to 100% confirm with DNA that this dude was not, I just think that that's wild because up until that point, he was, like, very insistent that he was, in fact, Jared. I mean, they think he's mentally, I think, yeah, it's weird. It's just super weird. I hate that this happened to this young man, and I hope that his family and those impacted are doing okay. There. And now it's safe because we're no longer talking about a small child.
Yeah, may not be safe.
For now it is, but if you have another one.
Well,
Your
like I
turn.
said, it's got a fourth theory and connects in with Dale Stelling as well. So I'll just say it's probably a good thing you're sitting.
Okay.
Because well, the title of the one I found, you know, I'd mentioned part of it before the show to you, you know, about rumors swirling online about stuff going on in Colorado national parks. Now, the title of this is actually Rumors Swirl Online About Cannibals Living in
Oh,
Colorado
the
National
feral
Parks.
people! The feral people, yes. I am so happy. Yeah, okay. To be clear, I'm not happy about cannibalism, but I'm happy you brought this up because I kept finding this and I was like, oh, I hope she brings this shit up because I don't want to be the one that always pops off with weird shit. I like when it happens naturally, like this. Please tell me about this.
I mean, you know, this page doesn't really go into much detail. You know, it's talking about a documentary film that was made, but you know, the film itself details several missing persons cases, including the 3-year-old Colorado boy that went missing on the Big South Trail, and that his remains were found 4 years later. Now, if you stop and think about it, not that we're cannibals, but if you put yourself in their mindset, what is the easiest way to, you know, you want to eat the calf? What's the easiest way to get to it? You pull the pants down. And most people, when they pull somebody else's pants down, those pants turn inside out.
Oh, so. And to clarify, calf, you mean the lower part of the leg. Just in case
Yes.
anyone was confused that we were talking about cows, because I know that there's a surprising amount of cow talk on this channel, which
Yeah.
I apologize for nothing. Oh my god.
But on the Dale Stalling one, it also mentions them. It says an elite class of cannibals with more than 5 fingers.
They're not just cannibals, they're elite. What the fuck? What the fuck?
Intertwined within the 400 miles of the ancient Anasazi roads are many structures, and among many of the obscure, seemingly secretive archaeological excavations have been found the remains of an elite class of hominins with extra fingers and or toes. The scale of cannibalism was so great that an anthropology professor rejected the notion that the practice was a reaction to a starvation crisis, instead saying it was, you know, psychospiritual social control.
No, for
Um,
sure. No, for sure. I
but
agree with that sentiment wholeheartedly.
yeah. And let's see.
Hold on, as a generalization, as a rule, I would agree with that. Now there are circumstances out there in which cannibalism has taken place as a response to a survival thing. However,
Mhm.
9 times out of 10, cannibals happen. It is not because it's not like the Donner Party shit. It's like as a means and methods to control a cultural, like a societal thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, carry on.
Now, the same anthropology professor has proven definitively, beyond any shadow of scientific doubt, that not only did a great deal of cannibalism occur in the Rocky Mountains,
Yeah.
but that it was on an unimaginable scale.
So yes, hold on. I'm putting a trigger warning up again. I'm so sorry, but if cannibalism is a weird thing for you, I personally don't get weirded out by it, which is crazy because I get weirded out by like dolls and shit. Cannibalism,
Mhm.
I'm not worried about because of cannibal shit. For general cannibal shit. There. If you need to mute, do it. I love you. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Rockies and Colorado, that general area has a ridiculous number of documented situations dealing with cannibalism. As far back as like the 17 and 18, the 1800s, really. Um,
Yeah.
like, I mean,
I
the most famous one people are gonna think of in that general region is gonna be the Donner Party. Um,
yeah.
but I mean, if they had a nickel for every time cannibals happened,
Yeah.
they would have quite a few, at least a roll. But again, I
Yeah.
mean, this is again documented, which is the wild thing.
Yes.
Documented ones, because for every instance of a documented one, it's safe to say there's at least 3 or 4 that don't get documented.
Yeah. All right. It says here many of the Native American traditions regarding this particular area are taboo and not up for discussion even amongst themselves, and even more so towards Westerners. However, the Paiute do have one well-known legend which does revolve around an archaic cannibalistic people who inhabited the region before them and who were subsequently driven out by violent force.
Okay,
The
I will
Sitaka.
hold. Okay, I was gonna say, there are certain words that don't get said on this channel because, and I follow First Nation rule on this. When you say certain names, when you speak the names of these types of things, it draws it. So we're not going to say the names of the specific type of thing that this ends up being, because I know exactly what you're about to talk, or rather, I know about the thing that you're referring to, and I don't want to use the name because we don't perpetuate that. But no,
No. But yeah, they were a savage culture of large red-haired natives who would execute nighttime raids, abducting women and children to be devoured.
fucking gingers. I'm kidding. I
And,
love gingers, but also like wild.
and while they were back at that point where before the Paiute took over, they were driven out, there's still belief that they are still currently up here in the Rockies and still active in their cannibalism.
So, while we segue into cannibalism, real quick. So, I don't want to say that this is a relatively modern thing that has happened, because, I mean, the first known documented cannibal, I know a lot about cannibals, okay? I know a disturbing amount about cannibals. As a writer, you hyperfixate on shit until you know everything about it. So you're like, I know everything about this thing because I'm gonna briefly mention it in a scene, and I want to know my shit. Anyone, Ty will back me up on this. If you ever ask her, like, ask her about how she knows how to repair a carpet. Like, you learn like crazy shit when you're doing research. But the first known documented cannibal was from like Paleolithic, like this is Neanderthal times. They were able to find several sets of remains. Anthropologists were, um, showing specific markings of tools being used on people, but not in such a way that would be like, oh, like medicine, but in such a way that's like, oh, you were being harvested for food. Um, and I want to make that clear distinction because if you ask an anthropologist, if you like the consensus with anthropologists in general is that the marked sign of a civilized society is finding remains of of an older person where the femur was broken and healed back because that meant that someone took the time to take care and nurse this person back to health for it to repair.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's not uncommon to find tool markings on remains as a general when you're looking back, because to some degree, even at its basest form, uh, medical practices have always been to a degree there. Um, and cannibalism is for sure not a new modern thing. It has
No.
been around.
Yes.
It is strikingly alarming. It is alarming of how much cannibalism has taken place in North America, in very specific. It is also very interesting when you're looking at different cultures along the Americas, how those specific cultures and those different nations identify and have stories surrounding, like, what is it called? I'm trying to think of the word in English. Um, when you're looking at the spoken, like when you tell stories to like teach a lesson, what is it called? Oral history.
Uh,
Oral history. So you're looking at the
yeah.
oral histories of these different nations, and how you can tell their viewpoints on certain things based on the context of the story, the characterization of the people involved, or the creatures involved rather. And it's very interesting whenever the concept of cannibalism comes up across these different oral histories. You can kind of like gauge like where the morality spectrum is. And the majority of cultures are not into that shit. Because obviously, why the fuck would you be into that shit? But also, it's very, again, you used the word earlier, and I think it's definitely on the nose, taboo.
Yeah.
It's very taboo. Um, I mean, there's lots of those out there that specifically will say like, this is like, I don't personally live in dichotomy. I don't live in like a this versus that. But if I did, this would be something that you would mark as like, this is evil. Um, because there's definitely a lot super fucked up with cannibalism. But no, the area that that we're talking about today in the Colorado and the Rockies has a ridiculously disproportionate number of documented cases throughout the last 200 years of cannibalism. Like there was that one prospector, uh,
Oh yeah.
from like it was like 1850s, I think. I don't remember, but I
I know who you're
feel,
talking about.
yeah, I can't remember his fucking name, but
1870s.
they
Alfred Greiner Packer.
yeah, the Colorado cannibal.
Yep.
Um, he uh he had a group. He had like a posse of people, and they would go and just grab people up, because he would be a wilderness guide. So he would lure people out with the pretense of being a wilderness guide, and then would eat them, which is super fucked up. Um,
Now, at one point, uh, when he confessed to it, he said, due to certain weather conditions, uh, at first he was trying to make the excuse that he didn't have a choice in doing it.
that's bullshit. That's the most
And then
bullshit I've
later
ever.
turned around and admitted to doing it purely to do it.
Yeah.
Now, I do know from oral legends around here that some of the cannibals, um, when they say they're doing it ritually, um, they have a belief that if you are eating a part of a person, that person you become that person, or you take that person into you.
Yep, and we're not
Which
going to go very deep into that for the
no,
we're treading
my only
we're treading a line.
my only reason with that is the tie-in with Jared and the person claiming that he was Jared.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
I did it again.
I fucking hate that. I hate that so much. I hate that so much for so many reasons. I hate that. I hate that. Oh god.
Makes more sense though, doesn't it?
I fucking hate people. Not you. I hate I no. No.
Told you I had a twist for you.
God damn. Okay. Oh sorry, I'm stunned for a moment. Just give me what the fuck?
Oh, I did it again.
What the fuck? Oh my god! Why? So how do cannibals tie into this other story that you were going to bring up? Because I know we talked about we tied it into. Sorry, my brain is. For fuck's sake, Mom. Every God, every time. I hate that so much. I hate that so much. Why would you? It does, but I hate you for that. Oh my god. Why would you do that? Okay, it's fine. I'm gonna compose myself. Okay, so we tied it we tied that whole bit into Jared, and a little bit about Mr. Stelling, was it?
Yep.
And you said that there was another case involved with this.
No, the way this one ties into what I'm guessing is going to be our last one is the conspiracy theory behind it.
Oh, you wanted to tie it? Okay, conspiracy-wise. Okay.
Yeah, because there's no guaranteed proof that that's what happened with Dale and or Jared, but it's the conspiracy theory of it that leads us into this other one.
Okay. So, it's safe from cannibal shit. And, I'm not going to put a trigger warning on this because it's 2023. And if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, and you don't know what we're about to talk about, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I really don't.
I think this might also be our most recent one too.
No. Actually, no, it wouldn't, because technically Jared's the most recent.
Yep. Okay, never mind. You're right.
So.
Yeah, because.
Fuck! I can't believe you did that shit to me. Oh my god.
Do we need a dance break?
No. We're so close. We're so close. We could do this. I just need to, like. Oh my god. See, now I want to play Dread Hunger. Talk about cannibals. I'm like, it would be great.
There, maybe that'll help.
Yeah, I'm gonna drink some water. It's very cold water.
Mine's not anymore. I put mine too close to my heater.
You done fucked up.
Yeah, I did.
So we're gonna talk about JonBenet Ramsey. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, I don't know. I don't understand how anyone wouldn't know about this, but John Benet Ramsey was obviously this is an American child beauty queen, which is disgusting. The concept is disgusting to me. That's an entirely different can of worms that I probably shouldn't delve into. Just because I don't really agree with a lot of that whole pageantry shit. Like, I understand to a certain. I'm not gonna go. No, I'm not gonna go into it. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. I've already been derailed like 30 times. It's also been my fault, so let's do it. But we're bringing her up because she's from the Boulder, Colorado area. And of course, because, there was so much media coverage about this that it actually helped change the course of how child abductions, how they were perceived in the media as like, we got to get on this shit. More so, I mean, there were definitely a lot of different things out there over the course of the last 50 years. I just heard a noise, but I don't know what happened.
It wasn't me.
Okay, because I don't know if my OBS froze or not. If I'm still alive, we'll find out. No. So John Benet Ramsey was born in 1990, and Christmas of 1996 is when all this went down. So she was killed in her family home. There was a long handwritten ransom note that was found in the home. And 7 hours later, after the ransom note was found, her father found her body in the basement. She had sustained a broken skull from a blow to the head and had been strangled with a garrote, sorry. Her official cause of death was asphyxiation, but also had the trauma from the head blow. And it was, for obvious fucking reasons, ruled as a homicide. This case wasn't just like, oh, an American thing happened, because America has like a lot of fucked shit happening all the time. But this actually was almost like a global, like, it had a lot of media interest globally. Part of it's because her mom was a former beauty queen, and that, this kind of shone some light on like the child beauty pageant situation. It is still considered a cold case and remains an open investigation with the Boulder Police Department. But it's really wild. So there's so much I want to talk about this, like, because again, there's also, and I want to bring this up because you mentioned the beautiful word that brought this about, conspiracy. There's so many theories and some wild ass conspiracy theories surrounding John Benet's case. So the ransom note, we'll start there. The ransom note was given to the authorities December 26th. When they realized that the mother gave it to the police, when she realized the daughter was missing, after she found a 2.5-page handwritten ransom note on the kitchen staircase at the home. The note demanded $118,000, which, if we adjust for inflation, is over $200,000. That's what the note wanted. The father pointed out to the police that the amount was nearly identical to his Christmas bonus the year prior. So sus. Suggesting that whoever wrote the note would have access to that information to be able to say that's how, like this money, we know they have it.
Yeah.
Which is sus, right?
It
Okay,
is.
a little sus. So investigators, they looked at a lot of different theories about what the dollar amount in particular. Um, anyone who would have had knowledge to that. Um, there was also the kind of idea maybe that the dollar amount was in reference to a psalm, um, like a biblical thing, which I'm not familiar with this, because I'm not Christian. So let me just look this up. Psalm 118, from the King James version of the Bible. Da 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 da. I mean, it doesn't really. I'm looking over it and I don't see anything about strangling children, so I'm not really sure why that was there. Um, that's awful. I'm sorry. That was not a good joke. But, like, it doesn't make sense why that. I have no idea. So, the ransom note has been a big thing because, again, it was a really long handwritten ransom note. I'm going to look at the photo of it. I mean, the handwriting is sloppy. Mr. Ramsey, listen carefully. We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction. We, and then they crossed out a word, respect your business, but not the country it serves. At this time, we have your daughter in our possession. There's a lot of spelling errors. She is safe and unharmed. And if you want to see her in 1997, you must follow our instructions to the letter. You will withdraw $118,000 from your account. $100,000 will be in $100 bills, and the remaining $18,000 in $20 bills. Make sure that you bring an adequate size attaché to the bank. Interesting phrasing. When you get home, you put the money in a brown paper bag. I will call you between 8 and 10 a.m. tomorrow to instruct you on delivery. The delivery will be exhausting, so I advise you to be rested. If we monitor you getting the money early, we might call you early to arrange an earlier delivery of the money, and hence something scratched out, pickup of your daughter. Any deviations misspelled, from my instructions will result in the immediate execution of your daughter. You will also be, I don't know what that word is supposed to be because it's like really sloppy. Her remains for proper burial. Two gentlemen watching over your daughter are not particularly like you, so I advise you not to provoke them. Speaking to anyone about your situation, such as police, FBI, etc., will result in your daughter being beheaded. If we catch you talking to a stray dog, she dies. If you alert bank authorities, she dies. If the money is in any way marked or tampered with, she dies. You will be scanned for electronic devices, and if any are found, she dies. You can try to deceive us, but be warned that we are familiar with law enforcement countermeasures and tactics. You stand a 99% chance of killing your daughter if you try to outsmart us. Follow our instructions and stand a 100% chance of getting her back. You and your family are under constant scrutiny as well as the authorities. Don't try to grow a brain, John. You are not the only something around, so don't fat cat around. So don't think that killing will be defiant. Don't underestimate us, John. Use that good southern common sense of yours. It is up to you now, John. Victory, SBCTC. Okay. So that's the note. I read it because I felt it was necessary to do that. It's incredibly weird to me because that's a long ass note, right?
It is.
Southern common sense. Lol. Yeah. Yeah. Hello, by the way. I'm so happy your first time chatting. Yeah, I'm not gonna comment on that because I don't want to alienate the people from the South. I do a little bit, but it's okay. Common sense, actually, as a rule, is not a flower that blooms in everyone's garden. But there's a lot of weird things about this letter. The phrasing that's used, the handwriting in particular, and the words that are misspelled, and specifically how because I pulled up, it is typed out. I could have just read the typed out version, probably should have. However, there's a lot to be said about reading the actual note, like looking at it. It's really mind-blowing to me. Mainly for the fact that, yes, it is written as though it is supposed to be authoritative, as though it is supposed to be from the perspective of one person, like on behalf of an organization or group. However, it's very clear that the author is not in league with anyone else. That there's a lot of showboating going on here. For me personally, this doesn't read like someone in charge of, or someone representing a group. You know what I mean? And if I was going to, I don't condone crime at all. I know I make a lot of jokes about, like, crime, but, like, that's different. Like, this kind of shit, I don't condone it. But if I put myself in the mindset of, I'm gonna do some kidnappery, you don't fucking handwrite, your ransom note. And also, you put it on the staircase in their house. That's weird. That's
Very.
weird in particular. The countermeasures they specifically list are interesting because those aren't the only countermeasures that would be out there. However, they are countermeasures that the public, the majority of people in the public who have access to specific media, like film, television, books, that is the type of information that they would have had readily available in 1996 to know that they would do. Because they would have been able to, oh, I know it from this show. I know it from this movie. Like, Sean Connery did this in this show. You know what I mean? So it's definitely it's showboaty for me. I mean, we've got some big words thrown in here, but then we've got some, like, the cadence of the voice of this, which is written in, starts out strong, like, I am this, I am that. And then it changes into a direct, like, this is in your, you. It starts out with we, I, and it switches back and forth between those particular perspectives often enough where this is sus. This doesn't make sense. This doesn't seem legit to me. Again, I am not a handwriting or, like, ransom note professional or whatever the fuck that would be called, but it's incredibly weird to me. Like, am I crazy? Is this weird? This is weird.
This is weird.
A lot of people probably have never actually read the note. There is the mention of the note in a lot of things, but the note itself is weird. The fact that the specific dollar amount of the previous year's Christmas bonus is mentioned. And I want to point this out, not because I'm trying to tell people how to get away with crime. However, I just want to point this out, which leads me to believe that this person has no idea what the fuck they're doing. Whoever wrote this note has no concept of how shit works. So, $118,000 in cash being withdrawn from a bank at one time. Do you know how that would work?
Bank would automatically alert the authorities.
They would flag it. They may not call the police because you're an adult, you can do whatever you want in the money. However, they wouldn't have that much cash readily available to be doled out like that without forms having to be filled out, because anything over $10,000 has to be reported to the IRS.
Yep.
Just remember, Capone, who orchestrated and killed a bunch of people, Al Capone, big famous gangster, never got charged or was convicted of any murders or foul play or racketeering or any of that. He got popped for tax evasion. The IRS don't play. So, the fact that this person does not list any countermeasures to how to avoid the IRS, or you know what I mean? If I'm going to get $118,000 out of the bank, in cash, which again, it's weird. It's very weird. And I'm going to circle back to this because I have a theory. But I will circle back to it. Just know, I think it's weird. Someone please remind me to bring up the IRS in a little bit. So it was such a weird thing. Even the FBI thought that the note was weird because it's incredibly long, right?
Yeah.
The police, obviously, using the common sense that they had between them, believed that the note was staged because it didn't have any fingerprints except for Patsy's, the mother's. Authorities who had handled it, and because there was a lot of exclamation marks and initialisms. Initialisms was the thing I was talking about, where you're changing those tenses and those directives in there. The note and the practice draft were written with a pen and notepad from within the house. So someone was in the house when the note was written, using materials found at the house. Colorado Bureau of Investigation specifically had noted in their report that the indication that the author of the ransom note is Patricia Ramsey. However, there wasn't any evidence to specifically conclude that, and a federal court ruled it highly unlikely that she wrote the note. And they had 6 different handwriting experts go in there and confirm that. Have fun. Thank you so much for popping in, Trash Panda. Love you. You're wonderful.
Thank you for joining us.
Now, the court did have self-proclaimed experts without any credentials who were trying to enter the case on behalf of those who had accused Patsy. However, you can't just because I can read a note and say, oh, this doesn't make any sense. I'm not a certified expert. I can't give them that advice legally and have it be taken as scientific fact because I'm not certified. That's what was happening. They were trying to get people who were in there to say it.
Yeah.
So the only people who were known to be in the house the night that JonBenet died were her immediate family, which was the mother and father and their son Burke. The ransom note contained specific instructions against contacting the police and friends. However, the mom called the police at 5:52 a.m. She also called family and friends. The 2 police officers who responded to the 911 call arrived at the Ramseys' home within 3 minutes. They conducted a cursory search of the house and didn't find any sign of forced entry. One of them went to the basement and came to the door that was secured by a wooden latch. He paused for a moment in front of the door, but then walked away without opening it. He later explained that he was looking for an exit route that would have been used by a kidnapper, which the closed door inside peg ruled out in his mind, which is why he never opened the door. So, because at that time, JonBenet was still missing, the father started to make arrangements to pay for the ransom. Forensics team was dispatched to the house. They had originally been like, okay, she's been kidnapped. So her bedroom was the only room in the house that was cordoned off to prevent contamination. There were no other precautions taken for the rest of the house, evidence that may have been present in the rest of the house. Friends, families, victim advocate, and the ministers arrived at the home to show support during this time. And visitors, picked up, they were cleaning surfaces in the house, potentially destroying evidence at this point.
Yeah.
And there was never an attempt for anyone to claim the money. So at 1 p.m., a family friend decided they were going to search the house in case the cops missed anything. I can't stress enough that I think that that's probably the most. I love that specifically because, the whole I distrust that y'all did your job. Allow me. You shouldn't do that, but also I appreciate it. So they went down to the basement. They found the latch door that the officer hadn't gone in. And they walked in, and that's where they found her. She had her mouth duct taped. Her wrists were bound. And she was covered up. The father picked her up and brought her upstairs. So at that point, the father then contaminated the crime scene at that point. So any forensic evidence that would have been there had been altered or destroyed. All of the family members had to provide a handwriting sample, blood and hair sample. And they grilled everyone for a couple of hours each. And the son was interviewed a few times during the following weeks.
One thing, real quick, I do find interesting is the one you're looking at says that a family friend instigated the search. I'm looking at one that says the detective asked John and the family friend to search the house to see if anything was amiss.
Which they should have done during the initial.
They should have, yes. For one, you don't just cordon off the child's room. They should have,
taken the whole house, moved the family out of the house. I mean, here's the thing. Any legitimacy to that claim should have, at the fact that the 911 call went in at 5:52 in the morning. And at that point, it was 8 hours later, 7 or 8 hours later.
Yeah. A thorough search should have been done immediately and not just looking for an exit.
I mean, we're Monday night quarterbacking it at this point, looking at this case. So we can't put ourselves fully in their position. Because at the time, they didn't think of it as the child is still here. They thought of it as, this is a kidnapping. We need to find out entry point, exit point. Because there weren't any very visible points of ingress that were like, oh, this is how they got in. There wasn't a broken window. There wasn't a jarred open front door, Yeah,
at least not that they found on first run through.
Yeah.
I don't remember where it was, but I remember reading one of them that when they found her, they also found a broken window in the basement.
I did remember seeing something about that. And again, because the body was moved, because of all these other different factors, any DNA evidence that would have been found.
Why don't you enjoy it?
Oh my goodness. My playlist ended and it started playing Uncle Iroh. I love that so much. Sorry about that. I just heard, please sit and have some jasmine tea. I'm dying. No, so all these different, at one point, a fun fact about me, at one point I wanted to be a criminalist, a forensic person who would go in and take evidence and I've always wanted to be a detective to some degree, but at one point I was trying to study that in school. and
Mm.
I had a really frustrating math experience. And I fucking rage quit the idea. I was like, fuck this. I had a really bad math assignment, and it like fucking triggered me, and I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing this shit. If I had stuck it out, it might have been different, but one thing, I mean, again, this is back in '96, so the police procedures and protocols in place for securing a scene with the objective of getting forensic evidence, especially given the collection procedure and how they would have ran that evidence and what evidence they could actually run
Yeah.
at that time. I mean, there wasn't really an SOP in place.
Right.
Especially, again, we're looking at Colorado, which, while it may be like missing persons, whatever, like central, according to every case that we've found today, and all the cannibals, but like, you're not seeing like a high index of crimes in which DNA evidence would have needed to have been processed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you're looking at like per capita. So a lot of the evidence that they would found couldn't really be determinate, you know?
Yeah.
Like the garrote that was found to be part of the murder weapon, because it was from Patsy's art supplies, anything like any of her evidence on there could have been easily like, oh, well, this was because it was your art supply. And could have been circumvented by gloves. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Just a lot of stuff up in the air. Especially when you're looking at stuff like trace DNA evidence. Very minute, small pieces of DNA that could be identified, and you're having to look at specifically how. And again, DNA at that time was like a long ass process running it. You know, it wasn't like like now if you do like an Ancestry.com sweep or whatever, they have a turnaround time, and the majority of that time isn't the actual processing of it. It's because there's a queue. And there would have been a queue at a crime lab. However, the processing time was also a long time. We're talking almost like a full day and a half to run this shit at that time. So even if they had found it, you know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes any sense.
It does.
But yeah, so there have been a lot of other investigations, libel disputes about this. At the end of the day, this is still an open case because they didn't have a definitive person to charge with this.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely awful that this happened. But again, this is a case that a lot of people. I have a lot of friends. Actually, we have fans who specifically have hyperfixated on the John Bonet case. Just because, again, of our age, like being of a similar age to this child. Because again, if she was alive today, she'd be a year younger than me. You know? She'd be a year younger than me. Which
brings it really close to home.
A little bit, but also it's just weird. It's not weird, but like, you know what I mean? It's just, it's got me feeling some type of way.
Yeah.
So the other thing, I wanted to talk about a couple of theories that have been out there. And also, before I get into that, there was a false confession that was put in place. In 2006, a man in Bangkok, Thailand, was arrested after he falsely confessed to murdering John Bonet. He claimed to have drugged, essayed, and accidentally killed her. However, there was no evidence to actually prove that, nor any evidence to link him to the crime scene. And the confession, largely in part, was based on publicly available knowledge. And also the fact that he said he drugged her and there were no drugs in her system was also like a huge hey. That's not true. It was determined, I think, after a fashion, that he had an alias that he used, a pen name, and was trying to submit a... Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm misgendering. I am so sorry. Because this person became a she. So she started to write a book and was trying to pass about John Bonet and was trying to get it published around the same time that they did the false confession. So it's speculated that the reason they did the false confession was knowing in part that either they would get away with it, like be like released, or that they could use this to garner sales for their eventual book, which is all sorts of fucked up.
It is.
But there are two theories that are out there that are like pretty baseline. One of them is the intruder theory, which is the one that, for the most part, the prosecutors and police were trying to follow outside of the first theory, so they were looking at boot marks left outside of the basement room by that window. They looked at a few different people, one who was dressed up as Santa Claus, which was a neighbor, a family housekeeper. They had a bunch of different people who were probably outside of that initial ring of like who you would suspect.
Yeah.
But the idea was that it was someone came in and grabbed her. But that also doesn't make sense. And it specifically mentions in this theory that someone entered the Ramsey home through that broken window. However, there was an intact cobweb over that window when they were actually looking in the basement under that scene. Now, there is also a steel grate that covered the window that appeared to have been undisturbed. And also foliage around the grate and around the window were undisturbed. But when they're looking at the intruder theory, they believe that they would have used like a stun gun and brought her down into the basement, and then she was killed, and then the ransom note was left. I mean, logistically, my mind doesn't think this is probable, because then that leads to, if they locked the door from the outside with that wood beam, which they would have had to do in order for the police walkthrough to make sense and be plausible, they would have had to have exited the house from the front or back door but then they would also have had to walk past the parents. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. And they found that note the evening. You know what I mean? It doesn't add up. The other theory was that it was a family member who did this. Which the Boulder police, to their credit, almost exclusively were kind of on board with this theory. They were focusing on the parents, John and Patsy. Because, again, the police saw no sign of forced entry, but they did see evidence that kind of seemed like the scenes were staged,
Yeah.
One theory about one thought that they had was that maybe Patsy had struck John Bonet in a rage, specifically over a bedwetting episode, and then later strangled her to cover up what had happened, mistakenly thinking she was already dead. However, Patsy didn't have a history of uncontrolled anger. Even the brother said, we never got spanked, nothing close, nobody ever laid a hand on us. The strangulation would have been a red herring aspect to conceal other elements of assault and killing. Burke, the brother, who was 9 at the time, was also a suspect, I guess. A child psychologist said that it appeared that everybody in the family had, they were very healthy, caring family relationships. So they didn't think that there was any involvement between Burke killing. They didn't think, child psychologists didn't believe that Burke could have killed his sister. Even though, realistically, he was never an official suspect, much unlike the mother and father who were prime candidates because shit seemed staged, right?
Yeah.
The Ramseys actually offered a reward in the paper to have, to get evidence to help them figure out what's going on. I'm just looking through this here real quick to see if there was anything else. Because again, it's bringing up a court case that didn't really have anything to do with it. But I guess there were some defamation lawsuits that happened regarding certain programs that have brought this up. And honestly, it's wild. But the whole idea, again, typically with situations where a child has been harmed or murdered, they immediately are going to look at the family who had access and who would have had a particular murder, like a motive.
Yeah.
Before we get into outlandish stuff, I wanted to talk about the IRS. So, $118,000 American money in 1996 is a lot of money. I mean, it's not Jeff Bezos money, but it's specifically a lot of money, I believe, comparatively speaking to the average income at that time across the United States. That's a good amount of money. So much so that if you earn that amount of money as a bonus, and bonuses are taxed separately in a different bonus money specifically, when a company pays you out a bonus, it is taxed differently. That also, I am for anyone who didn't know, I am deathly afraid of being audited by the IRS. I am afraid of it. I will openly admit that is a fear of mine. Not because I've done anything wrong, but because I know that they don't play. Like, they'll get you. But that being said, it's an irrational fear. I guess it's a phobia. Would you consider that a phobia? Is there a phobia?
Maybe.
Is there a specific, how trichtophobia? Is there a specific name for a phobia of the IRS auditing you?
Well,
Someone get in the comments.
Out.
Someone fact check this. But oh, that's funny. No, but no. So we're gonna go back to the letter. The way the letter is written. The amount of money. The fact that this took place Christmas 1996 And the letter specifically states if you want to see her in 1997, indicating that they were planning on holding her for a week and change if the person writing the letter was being candid. You know what I mean? But we're talking about the IRS. We're talking about tax amounts and how that works, and the fact that this person wanted $118,000 cash money withdrawn from the bank without tipping the bank off or having the bank mark anything or having anyone call the police, without any of that. And then the mother calls 911 at 5:52 a.m. and then proceeds to have a whole bunch of people in the house. And then the detective, it all snowballs into this weird thing that doesn't make sense. Hello, Foamy. Phorosophobia? Is that what it's called? Is the fear of taxes in the IRS? Oh my god! That's amazing. That's amazing. This specific phobia has common side effects including procrastination, avoidant behaviors. God, first off, I didn't come to this chat to be fucking attacked. God damn. Okay, yeah, also I need to do my taxes. Thank you for reminding me. I reminded me. It all worked out.
Well,
Yeah.
you did ask us to
I
find the
did.
name of it.
I did, but I didn't think I was gonna get attacked by like the definition. Hurts. Painful. It's like just like procrastination, like, wow, excuse me. Yes. So, also, hello, Foamy. I'm so happy you're here. So, it's very odd that the letter writer has this specific demand, starts out by saying, we have her. We, you. And then they go in, they still continue the we, you. But they don't consistently do it. Like they switch back and forth between I and we, which is uncommon in my mind. Right? They ask them specifically, they denote how they want the bills. Right? In hundreds and 20s. Right?
No.
They use the word attaché, which is a $5 word for those of you. Those are our home viewers.
It's
Which,
also not a commonly known phrase
no.
anymore.
No. It's actually, and it's a very niche word. It's very niche. Because it means, it can mean one of two things, right? It's either going to be someone who works as a representation, a staff member for an ambassador or a diplomat, right? However, the not common version of that is a bag, is an attaché case, right? And a lot of people would not know that. Your average person would not know that. So it would be someone specifically who would know that.
It would also depend on the age of the person. There are some that were born, I want to say prior to the 70s and 80s, that would have been a more commonly used term than the younger generations would know.
I will counter that part. I will counter that. And I will agree you're correct in that assumption. It is a good assumption to have. But I will counter it with do you know what common lexicon is? It's like the idea that, like, as we hang out with people, as we are around people, because humans are social creatures. Our verbiage, the words we use, how we use them, our vernacular adapts in such a way that makes it easier for us to communicate with those we're regularly around or that we regularly interact with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I use a certain phrase often around you and we spend time together, at some point you will also start using that phrase. And you see this along familial ties as well. If my
Yeah.
mom uses a certain phrase for something, I am likely to use that same phrase. No cap, bro. That shit is lit. Always. But no, it's a real ass thing. And I'm gonna use myself as an example, case in point. And this also has something to do with the fact that I grew up with a couple of different languages, so I'm constantly fucking up English. Like when I say words are hard, the shit's real. I do this thing where like I will call the floor in the house ground, and I'll do it without even thinking. Or I'll call the ground outside floor, and I'll do it as I'm talking to people. Ty made fun of me one day because we were looking at different houses. You know, sometimes you'll like go on you'll be talking to someone, and then you randomly end up on Zillow, and you're like, look at this beautiful house. That like, why the fuck would you pay for that? Also, that house is totally haunted. You know, I'm sure everybody does. If people don't do that, then you're weird. I don't know what to tell you. But so we were doing that one day, and I was looking at a house. We were looking at a house. I can't remember where it was. This is a beautiful Victorian house, and I was like, oh my god, it has a stove. And I was like, I said that, and she was like, what the fuck? Of course it has a stove. Places come with appliance. Like this place specifically lists it comes with appliances. But I wasn't referring to the stove. I was referring to the fireplace. But again, we're talking about lexicon. Yeah. So if the person who wrote this letter had been around someone who had used the phrase attaché to mean the case, it stands to reason that they would refer to the case as attaché. Correct? Would you agree with that statement?
I would.
Okay. There's a method to my madness. Okay. And then they go into very direct, like they start out very like, this is what we're gonna do, and the tone shifts from like a very not passive, but from it gets aggressive and pointed to, hey, just so we're clear, the people who are holding your kid are dangerous. It doesn't say that specifically, but that's the tone that's set. And then it becomes to, if you do this, she dies. If you do this, she dies. It's strong arming. It's specific language, the way it's stated. And the measures that they're using to discuss this are things that we would commonly see in a film, in a book, in a show. But they don't know about the IRS. My brain immediately does this thing. And I want to be clear, I am not making an accusation at all. This is a theory I am positing with just from what I'm looking at today. Not basing this on any information I may have had previous to us discussing this. Just based on the information we've discussed today. It is entirely possible that the brother wrote the note. Did he kill his sister? I don't have that information. I can't make that claim. There's no way. However, this doesn't look like something that someone told someone to write. This looks like someone wrote this note. The placement of the note is sus. The language of the note is inconsistent and sus. And again, if I'm an adult-ass person, I would know something about the IRS, right? I would understand how banks would work and how there would have to be files, there would have to be stuff done, filled out. You would have to list specifically where that money's going. So that way, if you were paying that to a business, they could then make sure their books are good when they go to file their taxes. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can't say for certain. Again, a theory. Don't hit me for fucking defamation. I'm not doing that. Don't hit me for that. But like a 9-year-old child writing this, in my mind, I could see as plausible. If shit's going down and you know that your sister is dead and you're having to cover something up, whether it was your shit or someone in your family shit, in order to keep you safe, and you write this, that makes sense to me. I can make sense of that.
Yeah,
Like 9-year-old
agree with
boy?
that.
Yeah, 9-year-old boy. I mean, I know when I was 9 years old, I had watched lots of, procedural cop shows. I'd watched lots of, probably films that were not, I guess, PG-13, but like had to do with like crime and shit. So it's entirely possible to understand that these would be countermeasures that might be a thing. And the idea of like if someone's kidnapped, they can't talk to these people. Specifically listing the FBI, police, etc.
Yeah.
And also SBTC, no idea what the fuck that's supposed to be. But yeah, that's where I'm at with that mentally. I don't know anything else about the case that I can specifically do, but I wanted to see your thoughts on it before we get into like the weird conspiracy theories on it.
No, Rick,
You're on the same page with me, you think?
I am.
Okay. So there's really only one bizarre thing I wanted to talk about. Because it to me is absolutely fucking bonkers and should be something that's easily disproved. I'm sorry, I'm just laughing. So the idea that Katy Perry is actually John Benet Ramsey. Yeah. So this falls along the same lines of that, like, R. Kelly's wife was Aaliyah. Well, no, that his wife Aaliyah was killed by music bigwigs, or like that Avril Lavigne was swapped by a body double and she died 15 years ago. Like, this is along the same lines of that kind of shit. Is that Katy Perry is actually is that John Bonet didn't die, and that Katy Perry is actually John Bonet. That the death itself was a hoax, but she was kidnapped and later became superstar Katy Perry.
How I've heard stories that her parents might have done it on purpose, but there's too many people that are willing to verify that it's not true.
I mean, what they're doing is the main reason people give this any credence, or like that people are like, oh, maybe that makes sense, is because of like facial characteristics between John Bonet and Katie.
No.
That they look similar, which anyone who's been on the internet knows, and anyone with like a brain that can understand how math works, which sometimes I can do, sometimes I can't though. Case in point. But I mean, if there's 8 billion people on the planet and you share fingerprints with a specific number of people, or DNA matches with a specific number of people because of limited combinations, it stands to reason that you would have similar facial features with people who may not share your specific genome, that may not be a part of your family, And I think it was, I want to say it was like 2017, then maybe wrong. There even was an app. I want to believe, I feel like I heard about this. I can't, someone fact check me. But I feel like there was a mobile app where you could submit a photo of yourself and it would connect you to someone else across the world who had a similar facial features than you. Like, it was like Find My Twin or some shit like that.
Oh, yeah, sounds familiar.
Yeah, and it was like a whole ass thing where like people were meeting up with their quote unquote twins, and it was like wild things. But yeah. They also, people upon this theory also say that, you know, Katy Perry's parents look awful lot like John Bonet's parents, which again doesn't prove shit. Um, it doesn't make any sense because there was an autopsy, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I found that theory. Someone told me about that. There's also a few other ones that are floating around that are equally, if not more, fucking weird. Like that the Illuminati sacrificed her, or like some other shit. Or that like she didn't exist at all. Like there's a bunch of different ones out there. But that one to me, I always like thought was just so incredibly like weird.
Yeah.
And also, now I just have to do this because the power of the internet compels me to.
Mm.
If we look up Katy Perry, we're gonna see when her birthday is. We're gonna do this. Yeah, she was born a whole 6 years before John Bonet. So for some reason, you've thought for any point in reason that that Katy Perry could have been her. Please remember that she is a whole ass 6 years older than her. And that wouldn't make sense because there is a huge difference between what a 6-year-old and a 12-year-old looks like. Because growth spurts are a thing. Like for instance, I was adorable as a 6-year-old. When I was 12, I was awkward looking and like weird, and I had a bowl cut. It was awful. I was an unfortunate looking child. But yeah, that's all. Do you have any other weird conspiracy theories you want to put out about John Bonet before we close on this?
No, I think you covered them.
Oh my god. Whew. I'm gonna have to make sure that I don't know if Mama Chibs is here, but I know that she is like big into this mystery herself. So I want to make sure I let her know about this in her life. But no. I love the conspiracy. You know what we should do?
Uh-oh. What's that?
So I know we do the missing persons thing when it's just you and I. I think we should do a conspiracy theory one.
You know, I
Outlandish conspiracy theories.
yes, for sure.
Okay, bet.
For sure.
So next time you come on, it's you and me, we'll do conspiracy theories. Okay, bet.
It'll be epic.
Yes, so that's a fun thing we're gonna do. Before we transition out of spooky stuff, any like closing stuff you want to talk about as far as missing people? I'm gonna say if someone's missing, or if you suspect something bad's happened, if you haven't heard from somebody who was supposed to have already checked in, the sooner you report that shit, the sooner they can potentially be found. It's best to err on the side of I have upset them because I had a welfare check versus I thought they were fine, so I left them alone for 3 weeks, and it turns out that they died in a ravine.
Yeah.
That was incredibly dark. I'm so sorry.
And the assumption that, you know, people have to be missing for 24 hours before you report them
bullshit.
is not true.
Totally
because
bullshit.
That first 24 hours is the most important time in a missing person's case.
I mean, we talked about several today where they started searching literally hours within someone going missing and they still didn't find them. So every minute counts at that point.
Yeah.
Also,
That
if you're John Benet Ramsey, no, I'm just kidding. Don't like that was satirical. Please don't. Oh, I gotta stop. Okay, so we're gonna transition out of spooky shit for like a solid like. We're gonna just step back from that. I am really pumped that you got to hang out with me today. I know you already you crushed affiliate. You're doing that. I know you've been, again, still processing your move, getting everything organized. 2022 was a fucking weird ass year.
It has.
It was so weird. Like, and I know you've got some other projects that you're looking forward to for this year. And I wanted to touch base just in case anybody wanted to know about this. Let me, because I pulled up. I know you've been doing you've been working on your poems and stories and stuff as well.
Yeah.
Are there any specific projects you've got coming up, or any content that you've got that you're planning that you think people should know about and be like on the lookout for?
Normally I would be able to probably tell you 20 different things, but right now everything is so up in the air trying to get this house organized that most of my projects have just been put on hold, unfortunately.
I fully get that. Because I also moved this past year, and shit was wild. It has been wild. Yeah, so I get that. I fully get that. I had someone say something really nice to me the other day, where they were like, listen, don't ever feel some type of way, because you literally moved. They were like, you've moved, like, at the time it was like you moved 3 months ago and you still have stuff that's not been unpacked, but like, don't panic, because I've had a box in my closet for like 15 years from when I moved that I still haven't unpacked, so you're okay. So I feel like that's okay, like,
It's about right.
like,
I mean, we moved the beginning of April of last year, and 90% of our stuff is still in boxes.
it's hard when you're trying to like live a life and organize, and like you're just trying to do your day-to-day, but then you're also trying to like, because not everybody can just like take however long it is to unpack. And I know like it's so hard to, I don't even know. Like, honestly, part of me has been like, I should just invite a group of people over here for like beer and pizza and be like, let's just organize everything. But that just seems like way too much mentally to deal with. Also, like, I would feel terrible about that because I'm crazy. Like, hey, what are you doing?
You know what I mean? Beer and pizza, but I expect you to do work around my house.
Yeah, like, it would just be a weird ass feeling. But if somebody on the other end, like, if somebody was like, God, someone would just come help me, I'd be like, oh, you need help organizing shit? Bet, I'm there. You didn't even have to invite me. I'm actually already in your driveway. Like, but that's because, again, I'm some type of way. So I fully get it.
I think that might also be another thing kind of tied into being a Gemini.
Gemini gang. June Gemini. That's how it is.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Yeah, I don't want to ask people for help, but
if you ask me, I will help you. But like,
yes, I
will never like ask you for shit. And I always feel weird whenever I'm in a situation where I have to ask someone for assistance. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be awkward. But yeah.
Yeah.
So like upcoming, I mean, I know you were talking about trying to set a stream schedule, which I have also struggled with. So I fully get if you don't have a set plan in that. But I know that you have been trying to branch into different games as well.
In that regard, once I get my office moved, upstairs onto a bigger desk where I have room for everything and don't have to worry about my internet saying, piss off in the middle of what I'm doing.
Like, were you trying to do something? Just kidding.
Yeah, it's not allowed today. But once I'm up closer to the router and whatnot, and I can get back into the streaming, as long as I don't overwhelm myself with it, I'm looking to try to, kind of do a Monday through Friday, usually right around lunchtime type stream. With just a variety of different games and whatnot.
Yeah, because I know you've been doing, you've been making like hardware changes slowly but surely, so that way you weren't overwhelmed all at once. I remember that. We were talking about that previously. Yeah. I'm excited. Honestly, I'm excited. And I'm just very pumped. I will never fault you for taking whatever time you need to get back into it, because it is what it is. Like, I don't have a schedule aside from Spooky Saturdays. I'm gonna try to do Wednesdays myself, just because I know Wednesdays are. I just want to be able to say it's Wednesday, my dudes. That's literally my only reason.
Sorry, you're a few days off. It's Saturday, honey.
I know. I know. This past week I've been essentially a ghost. So like, mental health is important. Take the time you need.
Yes.
Setting up your office is important. Take the time you need. Eating vegetables is important. Take the time you need. I don't know, like, but no, I'm very pumped because I always enjoy your streams. They're always just so chill. They're always so chill.
I do know for sure. I don't know how many people that have, tuned in to watch me remember me doing the demo for Wildflowers. But I think when I do start streaming again, my first game out the gate is gonna, because I now own the full version of Wildflowers.
I actually need you to I actually am very excited. I am excited about that. Also, I totally forgot we were supposed to do potion permits. That was like 8 months ago. Oh my god.
Yeah, we still got to do that at some point too.
Oh, listen, I'll get there eventually. I have literally, I have a whole list of games that I keep meaning to do. And then every time I'm like, I have a handle, okay, I'm gonna plan. And then there's like a Steam sale, and I'm like, god damn it. All right. And then people, and then I know for like the when the Shadow Guild did like the Christmas Krampus secret Krampus exchange, like I don't think anybody really followed the instructions. We're like, I just found this game and I think you want it. So I have these. You've given me in the last couple of like some really beautiful games that I'm very excited to play, and I haven't done it yet. And I also I'm habitually never finishing anything, so I have a bunch of unfinished games I need to do. So
Same.
I mean, eventually we'll get to it eventually, and sometime who knows, maybe by the end of 2023 we'll actually have accomplished the potion permit stream. It'll be fine. But yeah,
we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. If you guys aren't already following Innocent, you should, because it's always a good time, and you never know when she's gonna be on and having a really good time. Honestly, I always have a good time in your chat. Always. It sucks because, especially with the time zone difference, I have this issue with a lot of people when I try to watch, because your lunchtime is usually I usually can be active in chat for 20 minutes while I'm on break, and then I'm like, I gotta go. I run. But during the week, but I'm very pumped. I'm very pumped to see this.
Yeah, like when you've watched me do the observation duty games.
Oh my god.
Wanting to see Big Man, and I get him right before you show up.
I was so mad.
And then as soon as you leave.
And that happened twice. That happened 2 different streams.
Uh-huh.
Twice. I still have yet to see Big Man. Not even on my own playthrough. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. I'll see him eventually.
Oh, you will. It's a blast.
Okay. Well, again, I'm really, I know that like you it was like I know you weren't you were like I refuse to like not be here. But I also know that like you have been having sniffles all day. And I really
I'm
cannot
sorry.
stress. No, listen. I can't stress enough how incredibly appreciative I am that you were like, I actually refuse to be the person who doesn't show up, so I'm going to be there. Like, you, for sure, we could have figured it out, but I appreciate you not doing that. And I'm so happy we got to hang out. Hopefully, you get some rest, because I know we're doing Among Us for Shadow Guild Community Night tonight.
Yeah,
In
both of my
3
kids
hours.
are home.
3 hours.
My husband's at work, so yeah, getting rest isn't gonna happen.
Oh. Well, don't drink a third coffee, because that will be you'll be out of your mind, like bouncing off the walls.
No, I'll wait and do my third coffee. Probably closer to when community night starts.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
I usually do, and the nice thing about living in a green state is I can do my upper and my downer at the same time.
I love you. Again, I really appreciate that you got to hang out with me today and that we got to cover this. I'm very excited that we're gonna do. I'm gonna pin this for a reading time later.
Yay!
Hold on. I'm pinning this. I'm very excited that we're gonna do the conspiracy theory next time. I think you're next on. Let me see when I've next got you on, just because.
April 8th.
April 8th. So we're gonna do conspiracy theories then.
Yep.
Yes, and I'm gonna go ahead and update that so I remember. So I
And
actually do.
List you asked me to do too.
Thank you. Yeah, so that way I can legitimately keep track.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, I had to make sure I was going to have time to research whatever topic we went on next time. So.
Yeah, because we don't do research on the fly. We do it way in advance.
Yeah,
we don't.
I never sit down the night before and look everything up.
Listen, I never Google shit 5 minutes before we start. Come on, come on. I do extensive research.
Are you kidding? Yeah. Yeah. Nobody ever hears my keys clacking while we're talking about these.
No, of course not. I've never
happened.
What's a search engine? Yeah. Well, this was fun. This was a lot of fun. I'm gonna do a brilliant thing where I go to see. Did anyone redeem? I don't think anyone did. No one redeemed the raid. So let's see who's on right quick. Actually, you know who's on right now that if nobody's redeemed, I'm gonna for sure raid them?
Stub?
Yeah, Blast Stub, absolutely. Because I haven't raided Blasty in a minute.
Gotta raid the Blast Stub. Gotta.
Okay. We're gonna do that.
And I also have to wrap us up with that.
I appreciate you. You did not have to give me any biddies, but I truly appreciate you very much. Thank you again for being dope as fuck and being spooky with me today.
Thank you for having me here. Always look forward to it.
I'm so excited. So yeah, let me learn how to copy and paste because I'm an adult. Yeah, so I know how to work my OBS completely. For sure. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna raid out to Blast Up because we love Blasty. He's playing Minecraft right now.
Sounds fun.
Is he doing? Yeah, he's doing Capture the Wool.
Oh boy.
Which, on the one hand, I keep wanting to try, but I don't think I would. I don't know. Part of me is like, I don't think I'd be good at it, but I might. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and raid out. We're gonna raid Blast Hub. Please show Blasty your love. I think this is the thing for the raid message. No, it's not. Ignore me. I'm Mod. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. But yeah, we're gonna raid into Blast Sub. Please be sure to show him some love. It looks like he's on his Be Right Back screen right now. Thank you, Mom, because I have no idea. I had no idea how to do that. If you want to use a raid message, you can use that. I'm being a funny person, so I made this at like 4 a.m. one day when I was trying to be an adult. Again, really pumped that you guys got to hang out. And thank you all for all of the biddies and for just being beautiful in the chat. And I hope you all have a beautiful time, and I'll see you for next week, Spooky Saturday. Gonna be
We
hanging.
love you guys.
We're gonna hang out with Thrall next week. And I'm gonna try to stream throughout the week. I don't know. We'll see how it works. But yeah, have a spooky time. Bye, internet.